let's get into it. Wheels still working.
Stream Elements
Praise
Johnson
the Lord.
TTV is now live. Streaming American Truck Simulator, ATS wheel working. Praise the Lord.
Yes, much praise indeed to the King. That is the very bombshell. And on that bombshell, we do the lolly loo lay low. Press the magic button.
They sent therefore and gathered when the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon.
Time to get the job
And when
done.
they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. Therefore neither the priests of Dagon, nor any that come into Dagon's house, tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, even Ashdod and the coasts thereof. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said,
as good as it gets.
The ark of the God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us and upon Dagon our God. They sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them and said, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, Let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gath. And they carried the ark of the God of Israel about thither. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had emerods in their secret parts. Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron. And it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, They have brought about the ark of the God of Israel to us to slay us and our people. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, Send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it go again to his own place, that it slay us not and our people. For there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there. And the men that died not
Whoa, look
were
at that
smitten
traffic.
with the emerods. And the cry of the city went up to heaven.
Go straight on.
And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. And the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners, saying, What shall we do to the ark of the Lord? Tell us wherewith we shall send it to his place. And they said, If ye send away the ark of the God of Israel, send it not empty, but in any wise return him a trespass offering. Then ye shall be healed,
It's all about the miles
and it
per
shall be
gallon.
known to you why his hand is not removed from you. Then said they, What shall be the trespass offering which we shall return to him? They answered, 5 golden emerods, and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines. For one plague was on you all, and on your lords. Wherefore ye shall make images of your emerods, and images of your mice that mar the land. And ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel.
Coppers on there.
Peradventure he will lighten his hand
that
from
side
off
for you guys.
and from off your gods, and
Would it
from
be
off
this
your
side?
land. Wherefore then do ye harden your hearts, as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts, when he had wrought wonderfully among them? Did they not let the people go, and they departed? Now therefore make a new cart, and take 2 milch kine, on which there hath come no yoke, and tie the kine to the cart, and bring their calves home from them, and take the ark of the Lord, and lay it upon the cart, and put the jewels of gold which ye return him for a trespass offering in a coffer by the side thereof, and send it away, that it may go. And see, if it goeth up by the way of his own coast to Bethshemesh, then he hath done us this great evil. But if not, then we shall know that it is not his hand that smote us, it was a chance that happened to us. And the men did so, and took 2 milch kine, and tied them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home. And they laid the ark of the Lord upon the cart, and the coffer with the mice of gold, and the images of their emeralds. And the kine took the straight way to the way of Beth-shemesh, and went along the highway, lowing as they went, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And the lords of the Philistines went after them unto the border of Beth-shemesh. And they of Beth-shemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley. And they lifted up their eyes, and saw the ark, and rejoiced to see it. And the ark came into the field of Joshua of Bethshemite, and stood there, where there was a great stone, and they clave the wood of the cart, and offered the kine a burnt offering unto the Lord. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord, and the coffer that was with it, wherein the jewels of gold were, and put them on the great stone. And the men of Beth-shemesh offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed sacrifices the same day unto the Lord. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines had seen it, they returned to Ekron the same day. And these are the golden emerods which the Philistines returned for a trespass offering unto the Lord. For Ashdod 1, for Gaza 1, for Askelon 1, for Gath 1, for Ekron 1. And the golden mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines, belonging to the 5 lords, both of fenced cities and of country villages, even unto the great stone of Abel, whereon they set down the ark of the Lord, which stone remaineth unto this day in the field of Joshua the Bethshemite. And he smote the men of Beth-shemesh, because they had looked into the ark of the Lord. Even he smote of the people 50,010 men. And the people lamented, because the Lord had smitten many of the people with a great slaughter. And the men of Beth-shemesh said, Who is able to stand before this holy Lord God? And to whom shall he go up from us? And they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kirjath-jearim, saying, The Philistines have brought again the ark of the Lord. Come ye down, and fetch it up to you. And the men of Kirjath-jearim came and fetched up the ark of the Lord, and brought it into the house of Abinadab in the hill, and sanctified Eleazar his son to keep the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, while the ark abode in Kirjath-jearim, that the time was long, for it was 20 years. And all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth, and served the Lord only.
Go straight on.
And Samuel said, Gather all Israel to Mizpeh, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpeh, and drew water, and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, We have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh. And when the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together to Mizpeh, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the children of Israel heard it, they were afraid of the Philistines. And the children of Israel said to Samuel, Cease not to cry unto the Lord our God for us, that he will save us out of the hand of the Philistines. And Samuel took a sucking lamb, and offered it for a burnt offering, holy unto the Lord. And Samuel cried unto the Lord for Israel, and the Lord heard him. And as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to battle against Israel. But the Lord thundered with a great thunder on that day upon the Philistines, and discomfited them, and they were smitten before Israel. And the men of Israel went out of Mizpeh, and pursued the Philistines, and smote them, until they came unto Bethkar. Then Samuel took a stone, and set it between Mizpeh and Shen, and called the name of it Ebenezer, saying, Hitherto hath the Lord helped us. So the Philistines were subdued, and they came no more into the coast of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. And the cities which the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron even unto Gath. And the coasts thereof did Israel deliver out of the hands of the Philistines. And there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. And Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. And he went from year to year in circuit to Bethel and Gilgal and Mizpeh, and judged Israel in all those places. And his return was to Ramah, for there was his house. And there he judged Israel, and there he built an altar unto the Lord. And it came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us, like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us. Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them, according to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods. So do they also unto thee. Now therefore, hearken unto their voice. Howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the 10th of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers, and to his servants. And he will take your men servants, and your maid servants, and your goodliest young men, and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, Go ye, every man unto his city. Now there was a man of Benjamin, whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, the son of Bechorath, the son of Aphiah, a Benjamite, a mighty man of power. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man and a goodly. And there was not among the children of Israel a goodlier person than he. From his shoulders and upward he was higher than any of the people. And the asses of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. And Kish said to Saul his son, Take now one of the servants with thee, and arise, go seek the asses. And he passed through Mount passed through the land of Shalisha.
Wow, those cars in front of me were amazing.
Then they passed
They
through the
like
land of
teleport.
Shelah, and there they were.
Matrix is real.
And he passed through the land of the Benjamites, but they found them not. And when they were come to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant that was with him, Come, and let us return, lest my father leave caring for the asses and take thought for us. And he said unto him, Behold now, there is in this city a man of God, and he is an honorable man. All that he saith cometh surely to pass. Now, let us go thither.
Yes, it
Peradventure
is.
he can show us our way that we should go. Then said Saul to his servant, But behold, if we go, what shall we bring the man? For the bread is spent in our vessels, and there is not a present to bring to the man of God. What have we? And the servant answered Saul again and said, Behold, I have here at hand the 4th part of a shekel of silver. That will I give to the man of God, to tell us our way. Beforetime in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, thus he spake, Come, and let us go to the seer. For he that is now called a prophet was beforetime called a seer. Then said Saul to his servant, Well said, come,
Right.
let us go.
Then exit right.
So they went unto the city where the man of God was. And as they went up the hill
Exit
to the
right.
city, they found young maidens going out to draw water, and said unto them, Is the seer here?
Right.
And they answered them and said, He is. Behold, he is before you. Make haste now, for he came today to the city. For there is a sacrifice of the people today in the high place. As soon as he be come into the city, ye shall straightway find him before he go up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat until he come, because he doth bless the sacrifice. And afterwards they eat that be bidden. Now therefore get you up, for about this time ye shall find him. And they went up into the city. And when they were come into the city, behold, Samuel came out against them for to go up to the high place. Now the Lord had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, Tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. When Samuel saw Saul, the Lord said unto him, Behold the man whom I spake to thee of. This same shall reign over my people. Then Saul drew near to Samuel in the gate and said, Tell me, I pray thee, where the seer's house is. And Samuel answered Saul and said, I am the seer. Go up before me unto the high place, for ye shall eat with me today. Tomorrow I will let thee go, and will tell thee all that is in thine heart. And as for thine asses that were lost 3 days ago,
Keep
right.
set
coming up.
not thy mind
Then
on them,
turn right.
for they are found. And on whom is all the desire of Israel? Is it not on thee,
Turn
and on
right.
all thy father's house? And Saul answered and said, Am not I a Benjamite, the smallest of the tribes of
Right.
Israel, and my family the least of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin? Wherefore then speakest thou so to me? And Samuel took Saul and his servant, and brought them into the parlor, and made them sit in the chiefest place among them that were bidden, which were about 30 persons. And Samuel said unto the cook, Bring the portion which I gave thee, of which I said unto thee, Set it by thee. And the cook took up the shoulder, and that which was upon it, and set it before Saul. And Samuel said, Behold, that which is left. Set it before thee, and eat. For unto this time hath it been kept for thee, since I said, I have invited the people. So Saul did eat with Samuel that day. And when they were come down from the high place into the city, Samuel communed with Saul upon the top of the house. And they arose early, and it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, Up, that I may send thee away. And Saul arose, and they went out both of them, he and Samuel abroad. And as they were going down to the end of the city, Samuel said to Saul, Bid the servant pass on before us. And he passed on. But stand thou still a while, that I may show thee the word of God. Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head and kissed him and said, Is it not because the Lord hath anointed thee to be captain over his inheritance? When thou art departed from me today, then thou shalt find 2 men by Rachel's sepulchre in the border of Benjamin at Zelzah, and they will say unto thee, The asses which thou wentest to seek are found, and lo, thy father hath left the care of the asses, and sorroweth for you, saying, What shall I do for my son? Then shalt thou go on forward from thence, and thou shalt come to the plain of Tabor. And there shall meet thee 3 men going up to God to Bethel, one carrying 3 kids, and another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a bottle of wine. And they will salute thee, and give thee 2 loaves of bread, which thou shalt receive of their hands. After that, thou shalt come to the hill of God, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass, when thou art come thither to the city, that thou shalt meet a company of prophets, coming down from the high place with a psaltery, and a tabret, and a pipe, and a harp before them. And they shall prophesy. And the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shalt be turned into another man. And let it be, when these signs are come unto thee, that thou do as occasion serve thee. For God is with thee. And thou shalt go down before me to Gilgal, and behold, I will come down unto thee, to offer burnt offerings, and to sacrifice sacrifices of peace offerings. 7 days shalt thou tarry, till I come to thee, and show thee what thou shalt do. And it was so, that when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, God gave him another heart. And all those signs came to pass that day. And when they came thither to the hill, behold, a company of prophets met him. And the Spirit of God came upon him, and he prophesied among them. And it came to pass, when all that knew him beforetime saw that, behold, he prophesied among the prophets, then the people said one to another, What is this that is come unto the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? And one of the same place answered and said, But who is their father? Therefore it became a proverb, Is Saul also among the prophets? And when he had made an end of prophesying, he came to the high place. And Saul's uncle said unto him and to his servant, Whither went ye? And he said, To seek the asses. And when we saw that they were nowhere, we came to Samuel. And Saul's uncle said, Tell me, I pray thee, what Samuel said unto you. And Saul said unto his uncle, He told us plainly that the asses were found. But of the matter of the kingdom, whereof Samuel spake, he told him not. And Samuel called the people together unto the Lord to Mizpeh, and said unto the children of Israel, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of all kingdoms, and of them that oppressed you. And ye have this day rejected your God, who himself saved you out of all your adversities and your tribulations. And ye have said unto him, Nay, but set a king over us. Now therefore, present yourselves before the Lord, by your tribes and by your thousands. When Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel to come near, the tribe of Benjamin was taken. When he had caused the tribe of Benjamin to come near by their families, the family of Matri was taken. And Saul, the son of Kish, was taken. And when they sought him, he could not be found. Therefore they inquired of the Lord further, if the man should yet come thither. And the Lord answered, Behold, he hath hid himself among the stuff. And they ran and fetched him thence. And when he stood among the people, he was higher than any of the people from his shoulders and upward. Samuel said to all the people, See ye him, whom the Lord hath chosen, that there is none like him among all the people. And all the people shouted and said, God save the king. Then Samuel told the people the manner of the kingdom, and wrote it in a book, and laid it up before the Lord. And Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. And Saul also went home to Gibeah, and there went with him a band of men whose hearts God had touched. But the children of Belial said, How shall this man save us?
That's dangerous.
And they
That's accident
despised
speed.
him and brought him no presents. But he held his peace. Then Nahash the Ammonite came up, and encamped against Jabesh Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said unto Nahash, Make a covenant with us, and we will serve thee. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, On this condition will I make a covenant with you, that I may thrust out all your right eyes, and lay it for a reproach upon all Israel. And the elders of Jabesh said unto him, Give us 7 days' respite, that we may send messengers unto all the coasts of Israel, and then, if there be no man to save us, we will come out to thee. Then came the messengers to Gibeah of Saul, and told the tidings in the ears of the people. And all the people lifted up their voices and wept. And behold, Saul came after the herd out of the field. And Saul said, What aileth the people that they weep? And they told him the tidings of the men of Jabesh. And the Spirit of God came upon Saul when he heard those tidings, and his anger was kindled greatly. And he took a yoke of oxen, and hewed them in pieces, and sent them throughout all the coasts of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, Whosoever cometh not forth after Saul and after Samuel, so shall it be done unto his oxen. And the fear of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out with one consent. And when he numbered them in Bezek, the children of Israel were 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000. They said unto the messengers that came, Thus shall he say unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, Tomorrow, by that time the sun be hot, ye shall have help. And the messengers came and showed it to the men of Jabesh, and they were glad. Therefore the men of Jabesh said, Tomorrow we will come out unto you, and ye shall do with us all that seemeth good unto you. And it was so on the morrow that Saul put the people in 3 companies, and they came into the midst of the host in the morning watch, and slew the Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it came to pass that they which remained were scattered, so that 2 of them were not left together. And the people said unto Samuel, Who is he that said, Shall Saul reign over us? Bring the men that we may put them to death. And Saul said, There shall not a man be put to death this day. For today the Lord hath wrought salvation in Israel. Then said Samuel to the people, Come, and let us go to Gilgal, and renew the kingdom there. And all the people went to Gilgal, and there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgal. And there they sacrificed sacrifices of peace offerings before the Lord. And there Saul and all the men of Israel rejoiced greatly. And Samuel said unto all Israel, Behold, I have hearkened unto your voice in all that he said unto me, and have made a king over you. And now, behold, the king walketh before you, and I am old and grey-headed, and behold, my sons are with you, and I have walked before you from my childhood unto this day. Behold, here I am. Witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed, whose ox have I taken? Or whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Or of whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eyes therewith? And I will restore it you. And they said, Thou hast not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither hast thou taken aught of any man's hand. And he said unto them, The Lord is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that ye have not found aught in my hand. And And they answered, He is witness. And Samuel said unto the people, It is the Lord that advanced Moses and Aaron, and that brought your fathers up out of the land of Egypt. Now therefore stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord, of all the righteous acts of the Lord, which he did to you and to your fathers, when Jacob was come into Egypt, and your fathers cried unto the Lord. Then the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, which brought forth your fathers out of Egypt, and made them dwell in this place. And when they forgat the Lord their God, he sold them into the hand of Sisera, captain of the host of Hazor, and unto the hand of the Philistines, and into the hand of the king of Moab, and they fought against them. And they cried unto the Lord, and said, We have sinned, because we have forsaken the Lord, and have served Baalim and Ashtaroth. But now deliver us out of the hand of our enemies, and we will serve thee. And the Lord sent Jerubbaal, and Bedan, and Jephthah, and Samuel, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies on every side, and ye dwelled safe. And when he saw that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, came against you, he said unto me, Nay, but a king shall reign over us. And the Lord your God was your king. Now therefore behold, the king whom ye have chosen, and whom ye have desired, and behold, the Lord hath set a king over you. If ye will fear the Lord, and serve him, and obey his voice, and not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall both ye, and also the king that reigneth over you, continue following the Lord your God. But if ye will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you, as it was against your fathers. Now therefore stand, and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. Is it not wheat harvest today? I will call unto the Lord, and he shall send thunder and rain, that ye may perceive and see that your wickedness is great, which ye have done in the sight of the Lord, in asking you a king. So Samuel called unto the Lord, and the Lord sent thunder and rain that day. And all the people greatly feared the Lord and Samuel. And all the people said unto Samuel, Pray for thy servants unto the Lord thy God, that we die not, for we have added unto all our sins this evil, to ask us a king. And Samuel said unto the people, Fear not, ye have done all this wickedness, yet turn not aside from following the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart, and turn ye not aside, for then should ye go after vain things which cannot profit nor deliver, for they are vain. But the Lord will not forsake his people for his great name's sake, because it hath pleased him. Moreover, as for me, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. But I will teach you the
Ads
good
inbound
and the right
boss.
way.
Enjoy the ads.
Only fear the Lord, and serve him in truth with all your heart. For consider how great things he hath done for you. But if ye shall still do wickedly, ye shall be consumed, both ye and your king. Saul reigned 1 year. And when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also was had in abomination with the Philistines. And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Bethaven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets, and in rocks, and in high places, and in pits. And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him, trembling. And he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel
Rob
had
Pong
appointed.
EY John. Nice
Hey,
to see you
Rob.
driving
Came
again.
not to Gilgal.
Yeah, you know it, man. It's really weird having 900 DRR and this tiny 33 centimeter diameter wheel.
Offerings,
Okay?
and he offered,
But it's still
offering.
ATS 1.49
Mega
Mega Map Combo.
offering. Behold, Samuel.
Mega Map Combo.
Saul
If you
went out to
Google
meet
that,
him,
you'll see
to
what I mean.
salute him.
Because it is Mega Map Combo.
What hast thou done?
This goes from Alaska
Because
Right.
I saw that the people were scattered from me,
through all
and
the
that thou
Midwest,
camest not within the days
including
appointed,
Canada
and that the Philistines
and the
gathered themselves
Caribbean.
together at Michmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me.
Now,
to Gilgal,
I'm not sure if
and
there
I will
are any
make
other
supplication
mobs.
unto the Lord. I
But yeah, like, I tell you what, right? I know this is cheating.
And Samuel said,
That should have paused the game. If not, then
Thou hast
I'm
done
doomed.
foolish.
Right? Okay.
Thou hast not
But we take a look at the world map
the
here for you,
commandment
Rob.
of the Lord thy
Okay.
God, which
I
he
am
commanded thee.
apparently there.
For
I
now
started
would the
off
Lord
in
have
Seattle.
established thy kingdom upon Israel forever.
And
now thy kingdom shall
we've
not
got-
continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after
From
his
there,
own heart, and the Lord hath commanded
which
him
is like
to be
there.
captain
That's
over
the
his
end of
people,
the world,
because thou hast
right?
not
In
kept
Alaska.
that which the Lord commanded thee.
Oh, that's connected
And
via
Samuel arose
that.
and gat him
Okay, I
up
see.
from Gilgal
Got to
unto
get
Gibeah
a
of
ferry
Benjamin.
there.
And Saul
Um,
numbered the people that were present
we've
with
got
him,
all of
about
that
600 men.
Of Canada.
And Saul and Jonathan
And
his son,
then there's
and
some
the
more
people that were
Canada.
present with them abode in
And
Gibeah
then-
of Benjamin. But the Philistines encamped in Michmash,
I have no idea where that
and the
is.
spoilers came out of the
That's
camp
still
of the Philistines
Canada,
in 3
right?
companies. One company turned unto the way that leadeth to
Sadly,
Ophrah, unto the land of Shul.
that would
And
be
another
interesting.
company turned the way to Beth
That
Horon.
would really be
and
interesting.
another
I want to
company
drive here.
Turned to
Is
the
that
way of the
Greenland?
border that looketh to the valley of Zeboim, toward the wilderness.
It's the Antarctic, isn't it?
Now,
Of course, and
there
then we've
was
got
no
like the
smith
Great
found
Midwest.
throughout all the land of Israel.
I'm stacking
For the Philistines said,
the
lest the Hebrews make them swords
Midwest
or
C to
spears.
C
All
map
the Israelites
on
Rob
top
Pong
of
a
all
lot
of
to
this.
travel round.
to sharpen every
Right?
man his share,
Okay.
and his coulter,
And then
and
we've
his
got
axe,
like Key
and
West
his mattock.
there,
Yet they had
Florida,
a
and
file for the mattocks,
all that. And these
for the
little islands
coulters,
as
and for
well,
the
which I haven't
forks,
been
and for the
to.
axes, and to sharpen the goads.
And these islands as
So it
well,
came to pass,
apparently.
in the day of battle,
Um,
that there was neither sword
And
nor
down
spear
here,
found in the hand
we've got
of
like
any
Mexico.
of the people that were with Saul and Jonathan.
and
But with
yeah,
Saul and with Jonathan his son was
that's
there
it at the
found.
moment. I
And the
mean,
garrison
no
of
doubt
the
Pong,
somebody
what you
will.
listen to?
went out to the passage.
Oh,
of
the
Michmash.
Bible.
Now it came
Yeah, I
to
know.
pass
It's
upon
crazy,
day
isn't it?
that
But trust
Jonathan
me,
the son
I
of
believe
Saul
I'm onto
said unto the
something.
young man that
I
bare his
am
armor,
the only. If you
Come,
YouTube
and let us
ATS
go
for
over to the
Jesus,
Philistines'
YouTube
garrison
search
that is
that.
on the other
Okay,
side.
you will find no
he told
ATS
not
live
his father.
streamer or content creator
And Saul tarried
Okay,
in the uttermost
that
part
has
of
the
Gibeah,
word of the
under a
Lord.
pomegranate
I am
tree
the
which is
only
in
one
Migron.
on the
And the
entire
people
platform.
that were with him were about 600
And hopefully,
men,
if I do this, and I won't burn in
the son
hell
of
when World
Ahitub,
War III
Ichabod's
busts
brother,
out and
the son of
everybody
Phinehas, the
dies.
son of Eli, the Lord's priest,
And
in
on that
Shiloh,
bombshell,
wearing an
let's
ephod.
get back into it, shall
And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. And between
Providing
the
that I'm not dead
passages
yet.
by
Okay,
which
I'm not
Jonathan
dead yet.
sought to go over unto the Philistines' garrison,
I'm
there
not
was a sharp
dead.
rock
Send it.
on the one side and a
Yep.
sharp rock on
Well, I
the
mean,
other
I'm
side.
all about
And the name
miles
of
per
the one
gallon
was
at the
Moses,
moment. So
and the
I'm
name
trying
of
to
the
keep it in
other
18th gear as
The
much as
forefront of the
possible.
one was situated northward over against Michmash, and the other
Right.
southward over against Gibeah.
While
And Jonathan
trying to
said to the
stay
young man that bears his
inside
armor,
the speed limit.
Come, and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised.
So what we got? 65
It
mile
may
an
be
hour
that the
speed
Lord will
limit
work
here.
for us. For there is no restraint to the Lord to save by
I'm going
many
to
or
stay
by
in the
few.
slow boats lane.
And his armor bearer said unto
So
him,
don't trust him two cars
Do
in front of
all
me, you
that is in
see.
thine heart. Turn thee,
They look a bit
behold,
dodge,
I am with
right?
thee according to thy heart.
I mean,
Then said Jonathan,
oh,
Behold, we will pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. If they say thus unto us,
Don't want to risk it.
"Tarry
I've got
till
the
we come to
realistic
you,"
truck
then
physics
we will
mod
stand
installed
still
as
in our
well,
place
so
and will not
things
go
are
up
bouncy.
unto them. But if they say
Very
thus,
bouncy.
"Come up unto us," then we will go up, for the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and this shall be a sign unto us. And both of them discovered themselves unto the garrison of the Philistines. And the Philistines said, "Behold,
Oh, he's trying
the
to
Hebrews
overtake me.
come
He's
forth out
backed
of the
off.
holes
Lovely, I'll
where they
take
had
it.
hid themselves." And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor-bearer and said, "Come up to us, and we will show you a thing." But Jonathan said unto his armor-bearer, "Come up after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel." And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor-bearer after him. And they fell before Jonathan.
So how are you enjoying
His
your new
armor-bearer
pedals and your
slew
direct drive
after
wheel?
him. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor-bearer made,
Check the stream
was
out.
like
I think it
20
was
men,
like 2 or 3
within, as it
days
were,
ago.
an half-acre of
And
land,
yeah,
which
things are
a yoke
looking
of
nice,
oxen
Rob.
might plough. And there was trembling in the host, in the field, and among all the people. The garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled. And the earth
I was watching Kirky's stream earlier on
so
today.
it was a very
He's playing
great
that new
trembling.
Enshrouded game.
And the watchman of Saul in
His
Gibeah,
YouTube's doing
Benjamin,
really well as well. He's got over
all
1,000
the multitude
subscribers
melted
now.
away, and they went on beating down one another.
Rob Panya,
Then said
it's
Saul
awesome.
unto the people that were with him,
Feel strong.
How many Newton meters
And
of
see
torque do
who
you
is
have
gone
on your
from us.
wheelbase? What wheelbase
And
is
when they
it?
had numbered,
How many
behold,
watts does it
Jonathan
draw?
and his armor-bearer were not there.
Rob Pon 12
And Saul said
nanometers.
unto
12.
Ahiah,
Okay, nice.
"Bring hither the ark of
That's a
God."
lot.
For the ark of God was at that
I mean, it's
time
only half
with
of
the
like
children
a
of Israel.
V2
They came to
Sim
pass,
Cube
while
Pro.
Saul talked unto the
But,
priest,
because that goes up to
that
25,
the
right?
noise that was in the host of the
With the
Philistines
booster pack or
went
whatever
on
it
and
is.
increased. And Saul said unto the priest, "Withdraw
But still,
thy hand."
I mean,
And
it's
Saul
enough
and
to
all the people
tear
that
a
were with
tendon,
him
right?
assembled themselves, and they came to the battle. And
I bet you don't
every
use it
man's
all though,
sword
do you?
was against his
Apparently
fellow,
you don't need more
and there
than
was a
8
very
to drift.
great discomfiture. Moreover, the Hebrews that were with the Philistines before that time, which went up with them into the camp from the country
What am I
round
doing?
about, even they also
15th
turned
year.
to be with the Israelites that were with Saul and Jonathan. Likewise,
Thanks for jumping
all the
in
men of
though,
Israel,
Rob. I
which had
appreciate
hid
it.
themselves in Mount Ephraim, when they heard that the Philistines
That's
fled,
what I'm doing.
even they also followed hard after them in the battle. So the Lord saved Israel that day. And the battle passed over unto Bethaven. And
I
the
have
men
no
of
idea
Israel
where the
were
power band
distressed
is.
that
I
day.
just bought
For
this
Saul
truck.
had adjured the people, saying,
This is its very
"Cursed be the man
first.
that eateth any
This is
food
its
until
debut.
evening, that I may be avenged on mine enemies."
Rob
So
Pon
none of the
actually
people
I used
tasted
just the
any
half
food.
of it for drifting.
And all they of
But
the
I
land
thought,
came
it's better to
wood.
have some headroom in case
was
someday
honey
I
on
will
the
do
ground.
some circuit racing.
When the people were come into the wood,
Circuit
behold, the honey
racing.
dropped, but no man put his hand to his
I mean,
mouth.
yeah, it's okay and stuff, but I mean, I wouldn't pay for
But
iRacing.
Jonathan heard not
And
his
as
father
far
charged
as
the
smaller,
people.
lesser known,
Wherefore he
Rob
put
Pon
Streamers
and Rally I
and
have
so-
been stronger
in
too.
his hand.
I mean, Jensenator is really good at iRacing. He's a top bloke. He's a great live streamer. He's got great gear.
Enlightened.
Okay, he has excellent FPS, good quality cameras, and he averages 1 to 2, 3 viewers.
Saying,
iRacing, you're either known in iRacing or you're not. And if you're gonna do circuit racing
Then said Jonathan,
competitively, it has to be iRacing, right? Because that's the only thing that really anybody puts any value in skill and whatsoever and
"How
whatnot,
much
and
more,
blah blah
if
blah,
haply the people
right?
have eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies."
But other
which
than
they
that,
found?
AMS2.
For had there not been now a much greater
ACC,
slaughter among the
ooh,
Philistines,
Unreal Engine
they
in the
smote
racing
the
game.
Philistines that day.
EA Sports WRC. Look how well that turned
People
out.
were very faint. And
Right?
people flew
I was
upon
watching
the
Best
spoil,
Rally Team
took sheep,
streaming EA
oxen,
Sports.
and
Yeah,
calves,
2 people
and
live
slew
on
them the
Twitch.
ground.
Right, BRT 33 viewers. Other guy 1
Then he
view.
told Saul,
Right?
saying,
Look on Dirt Rally 2.0. Dizzy Izzy currently at about 30 viewers.
and he said,
Right.
"Ye have
8 other
transgressed,
people streaming
roll
to
a
1
great
viewer.
stone unto me this day."
What's the better title? Now, before EA Sports came out, I did say this today. I know it's going to be just like every other modern game title. It's got EA behind it. It's going to be released. It's going to be fundamentally broken and unplayable, right? Poor PC
is a girl. You cannot compare it to Men XD.
And slew them there. And Saul
Well,
built
you
an
can,
altar unto
okay,
God. The
because
same was the first
her
altar
average now
built
is
unto
lower
God. And
than
Saul said,
BRT.
"Let us
But
go
BRT
down
does have a
after the
kitty
Philistines
cat.
by night, and
So, I
spoil
mean,
them
kitty
till the
cats
morning light,
beat
and let us not leave a man
Hot
of
chicks
them.
on Twitch any day of the week.
Do
Because
whatsoever
men
seemeth
and
good
women
unto
love kitty cat,
Then
right?
said the priest, "Let us draw
Mine are
near
upstairs at the
unto
moment.
God."
But I don't have the
And
money
Saul
for
asked
pedal
the
cam.
counsel of God,
I don't have the mount
"Shall
in
I
for
go
pedal
down
cam.
after the Philistines?
And I don't have the
Wilt thou
USB
deliver them
or the
into the
USB
hand of
power
Israel?"
for
But
kitty
he
cam.
answered him not that day. And
Otherwise,
Saul said,
I'll be rolling in the money, bro.
all
I'll
the
be
chief
rolling in it, dude.
and know and see wherein this sin has been this day.
But I'm poor and I'm
For
broke,
as the
and my
Lord liveth,
encoder,
which saveth
60
Israel,
slot metal
Rob Bond
encoder,
is
is
how entertaining a streamer
I
is.
shall surely die.
I don't talk
But there was
much,
not a man
Virgo, I
among
don't
all
have
the people
viewers.
that answered him.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's my problem as well. So long as I've got one person to type to me, I've got so much to say
On the other side,
about so many things.
do what
I mean, I'm
seemeth good
subscribed to
unto
over 1,000 YouTube
Therefore
channels,
Saul said
right?
to the Lord
Okay?
God of Israel,
Since 2013, I've been consuming YouTube,
and Saul
yeah?
and Jonathan were taken.
And the layoffs in the industry, bro, it is
And
heavy.
Saul said,
Every
"Cast
single
lots between me
AAA
and
publisher,
Jonathan my son."
quadruple A publisher are axing
Then Saul said to Jonathan,
tons of staff. I'm talking like 20% of the staff have been axed. And this isn't even the tiny little dev teams, right? I'm talking about the big boys, you know what I mean? Like Blizzard,
"Die?"
you know?
Saul answered,
Microsoft
"God
acquisition,
so,
they've
and more
axed
also.
like
Thou shalt
20%
surely die,
already.
Jonathan." And the people said unto
They're in the
Saul,
process of axing the first
"Shall
20%.
die?"
And later on down the line, they're going to axe more, man. Every single company are
As the Lord
axing
liveth,
their
there shall
staff.
not
They're
one
just
hair
laying
of
them
his
off,
head
laying them
fall
off,
to the
laying them
ground,
off.
for he
Left,
hath
right, and
walked
centre.
with God this
Yeah?
day. So the people
It's because the
rested
pandemic
Jonathan
thing is
that he died.
dying down. And
Saul
as
went
far
up
as
from following the
development is
Philistines,
concerned, with
and the
coding,
Philistines
acting,
went
script
to their own
writing,
place,
music
Saul
composition
took the
even,
kingdom
right?
of
AI is doing it.
and fought against all his
Yeah?
enemies on every side,
Customer services, AI is doing it.
against the children of Ammon,
You know?
and against
So all
Edom,
these
and
people
against the
are getting
kings
laid
of
off.
Zobah, and against the Philistines. With
It's
the
really
sword
messing the
turned
world up,
himself,
bro.
He vexed them, and he gathered
And it is starting to affect the quality of our games. I mean, you see loads and loads of artifacts in
Now the sons of Saul
and silly
were
mistakes in
Jonathan
translations and
Ishvi,
stuff,
and Melchishua.
you know,
And the names of
AI
his two daughters were
upscaling,
these. The name of the firstborn,
stuff like that. You know, like the
name of the
GTA
younger,
remake
Michael.
that came out.
And the name of Saul's wife
You
was
know,
Ahinoam,
you compare the
daughter
original
of
to the others,
Ahimelech.
and it's just like the AI
And the
couldn't
name of
work
the
out what
captain
was
of his
written
host was
there and
Abner, the son
wrote
of
it
Ner,
wrong. Oh, what's happened
Saul's
here?
uncle.
This isn't good.
And
This isn't
Kish
good.
was the father of Saul.
That's not good.
Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel.
Oh, this is bad.
And there was sore war against the
Nothing for it.
Philistines all the days of Saul. And when Saul saw any strong man
Douchebag.
or any valiant man, he took him unto him.
See, that cost me miles per gallon. Yeah?
Samuel also said unto Saul, The Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together, and numbered them in
50
Gilead,
miles an hour.
200,000 footmen,
Set cruise
and
control to
10,000
that.
men of Judah.
And chill out.
And Saul came to a city of Ammon,
So yeah,
laid waits in the valley.
everybody's really,
And Saul
really
said unto the king,
losing their rag with
Go,
EA
depart,
over this
get ye
EA
down
Sports
from among the
WRC
Amalekites,
performance
lest I
issues.
destroy you with them.
especially
Will you
on
show kindness
consoles.
to all the children of
I
Israel
mean, I know what the
who
issue
came
is
up
because I watched
out of
Digital
Egypt?
Foundry, right?
So
And
the
it's
king
shader
departed
compilation
from among the Amalekites.
with Unreal
And
4.5,
Saul
which is what it
smote
is,
the
an
Amalekites
Unreal 5
from
engine.
Havilah until thou
It's a
comest
big
to
issue,
Shur, that is over against
right?
Egypt.
It's
And he
not
took
really
Agag,
that
the king of
difficult,
the Amalekites, alive,
you know,
and utterly destroyed all the people
if
with
you
the
scale
edge
it
of the
up
sword.
to implement shader
Saul
warning.
and the people
I mean,
spared
Elite Dangerous
Agag
has it, right?
and the best of the sheep,
And that's
the
based off
oxen,
of
and
Unreal
the
3
fatlings
engine,
and the
right? The
lambs,
Cobra
and
engine.
all that was
And they
good,
highly
and would
modified
not
it to make
utterly
it
destroy
work.
them.
Yeah.
But everything
It
that
just
was vile
barely
and
works.
refuse, that
Yeah.
they destroyed utterly.
And even then
came
you
the
get
word of
stutters
the Lord
if you ain't
unto
got good
Samuel,
hardware,
saying,
right? But
It
that's
depends
just
on
Odyssey,
I have set
the
up
poor
Saul to be king.
rendering technique. There's
He
no
has turned
rendering
back
culling.
from
Well, there is
following
render culling
and hath not
now,
performed
actually,
my commandments.
but it's bad.
And it
So,
grieved Samuel,
the bad
and he cried
implementation
unto
of
the
it,
Lord all night.
unfortunately.
And
And that's what they
Samuel
need to
rose early
implement,
to meet Saul.
right? And
In the
then
morning it was
there'll be
told
no
Samuel,
more
saying,
performance issues
Saul came
on
to
PS5
Carmel,
and on
behold,
PC and
he set him up a
Xbox,
place, and
right?
hath gone about and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal.
But no,
And Samuel
they
came
just
to
don't care. They probably can't
Saul said
implement
unto
it
him,
now
Blessed
because they've
be
probably
thou of
fired the
Lord. I have
people
performed
already
the commandment of the Lord.
that have the skills to
Samuel
implement it.
said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear?
It's going to take about 5 to
Saul
10
said,
years
They
the
have
CPU
brought them from the
architecture
Amalekites, for the
to
people
get up
spared
to
the best of the
pace,
sheep and of the
right?
oxen, to sacrifice unto
with
the
the
Lord
Unreal
thy
5
God,
engine,
and the rest
to where
we have
shader
utterly
compilation won't be an
Samuel said
issue
unto Saul,
anymore
Stay,
because
and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said
the
to us
architecture in
that
5 to 10 years from
he said
now
unto him,
will be just so
God.
efficient that it will be
And Samuel
seamless that we'll be able
When
to
thou
do
wast
all of that
weak
compilation
in thine
on
own
the
sight,
fly.
Wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over
And then
Israel.
obviously with this
And the Lord
front
sent thee
side
on a
bus
journey
tech,
and said, Go
you know,
and
that
utterly destroy
lets
the
graphics
sinners,
card
the
interface
Amalekites,
with the
and fight
RAM
against them until they be
through
consumed.
the
Wherefore then
the North Bridge and all
didst thou
that
not
lot,
obey the voice of the Lord,
you know.
but didst fly upon the spoil, and it's evil in the sight of the Lord.
And then with SSDs,
Saul said
all
unto
on that. When
Samuel,
that bus speed goes up,
Yea, I have obeyed the voice
there
of
will
the
be no
Lord,
need for
and have
shader
gone the way
compilation
which
anymore.
the Lord
For
sent
these
me,
current
and have
times,
brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams.
better to obey
For rebellion
than
is as the sin
sacrifice.
of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and thy words, because I feared the people, and obeyed their
How
voice.
many miles?
Now therefore I pray
1,700
thee, pardon my
miles to
sin,
go.
and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of the Lord. And the Lord hath rejected thee
Oh,
from
don't
being
trust
king
him.
over Israel.
Don't trust him one
When
tiny
Samuel
little
turned
bit.
about to go away, he laid
He
hold on the
looks good.
skirt of his mantle, and he rent. And Samuel said unto him, The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine, that is better than thou. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. Then he said, I have sinned. Yet honor me now, I pray thee, before the elders of my people, and before Israel, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord thy God. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah. Saul went up to his house to Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul. And the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
Oh,
And Samuel said,
that tightens a
How
bit.
can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, Take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, Comest thou peaceably? And he said, Peaceably. I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. But then Jesse called Abinadab, and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, The Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him
Oh
in.
dear.
Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this
Stick
is
it
he.
in neutral.
Then Samuel took the
Roll
horn of
down
oil,
here.
and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit
Yes, I know,
from the
I know
Lord
this
troubled
feeling.
him. And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants which are before thee to seek out a man who is a cunning player on an harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants, and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse, and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took an ass laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. And David came to Saul, and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor-bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he hath found favor in my sight. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took an harp, and played with his hand, so Saul was refreshed, and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shoko, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shoko and Azekah in Ephesdamim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall he be our servants, and serve us. And the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man, that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab the firstborn, and next to him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they, and all the men of Israel, were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning, and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab his eldest brother heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, What have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he is a man of war from his youth. David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. When he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. David said moreover, The Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, Go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him.
Yes.
And he took his staff
Success.
and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hastened and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. When the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and of Judah arose, and shouted, and pursued the Philistines, until thou come to the valley, and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Shaaraim, even unto Gath, and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine, and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent.
I'll find it.
And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine,
Please make
he
a
said unto
U-turn when
Abner, the
possible.
captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth?
Finding new
And Abner said, As thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the
Keep
king
right,
said,
and then continue
Inquire
straight
thou
on.
whose son the stripling is. And as David
Go straight
returned
on.
from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, Whose son
When
art thou,
possible, make
thou
a
young
U-turn.
man? And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse, the Bethlehemite.
Turn left.
And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David. And Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day, and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain
Money,
his
money.
thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Saul was very wroth, and the sin displeased him. And he said,
$775.
They have ascribed unto David
And on that
10,000s,
bombshell,
and to me they have
I'ma
ascribed
take
but
a break.
thousands. And what can he have
I'll
more
be
but
right
the
back.
kingdom? And Saul eyed David from that day and forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said, Let not mine hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said unto Saul, Who am I, and what is my life or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel, the Meholathite, to wife. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law, in the one of the twain. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed? And the servants of Saul told him, saying, On this manner spake David. And Saul said, Thus shall he say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law. And the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David. And Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. And Saul spake to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul, my father, seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee, and what I see, that I will tell thee. And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee ward very good. For he did put his life in his hand, and slew the Philistine, and the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel. Thou sawest it, and didst rejoice. Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood, to slay David without a cause? And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan. And Saul sware, As the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence, as in times past. And there was war again. David went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand. And David played with his hand. And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall. And David fled and escaped that night. Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster, and covered it with a cloth. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, He is sick. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. And Saul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he is escaped? And Michal answered Saul, He said unto me, Let me go. Why should I kill thee? So David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah, and told him all that Saul had done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth. And it was told Saul, saying, Behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. And when it was told Saul, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. And Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also. Then went he also to Ramah, and came to a great well that is in Siku. And he asked and said, Where are Samuel and David? And one said, Behold, they be at Naioth in Ramah. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was upon him also, and he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets? And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is mine iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life? And he said unto him, God forbid thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing either great or small, but that he will show it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not
Let's
so.
do this.
And David sware moreover, and said, Thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, Let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly,
Rob
as
on
the Lord
WB.
liveth, and as thy
Welcome
soul
back,
liveth,
Rob.
there
I
is
sent
a
you an
step between
invite
me
to
and
stream
death.
together live
Then
because
said
I've never
Jonathan
tried
to
it
David,
before. I'm very curious.
Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not.
If
fail
you're curious
set
to
the
try
king
it,
and
I mean, I've
meet
never
him.
tried it.
But
Who
let
knows
me go,
what it's
that
like?
I may
but-
hide myself in the field unto the third day at even. If thy father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me that he might run to Bethlehem his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for
Rob
all the
Ponwell,
family.
what?
If he say thus,
Where you
it
sent
is
the
well.
invite to?
Well,
Thy
it's on
servant shall have
Twitch,
peace.
so in your
But
Twitch
if he be very
notifications, I would
Then be
assume
sure
you get a
that evil
notification
is determined
saying,
by him.
John Zane
Therefore,
TTV sent you
thou
an
shalt
invite
deal
to
kindly with thy
stream
servant.
together live
For thou hast brought thyself
Invite you
into
as a
covenant
guest.
of the Lord with thee.
on my
Notwithstanding,
stream.
if there be in me
And then apparently I
iniquity,
paste the
slay me
browser
thyself.
source into my
For why
OBS
shouldest thou bring
and
me
then
to thy
stick your
father?
camera somewhere on my
And Jonathan
stream.
said,
And apparently
Far be it from
we
thee.
could talk
If I knew
probably
certainly
in
evil were determined by my
the
father
Discord
to come
app,
upon thee, then would not I
or
tell it thee?
we could try the Twitch
Then
app
said
itself,
David to Jonathan,
the browser app,
Who shall tell me? Or
and
what
see
if
how
thy
well it
father
works.
answer
Rob
thee
on
roughly?
refreshing browser.
And Jonathan said unto David, Come, and let us go out
Get
into the
ready to
field.
turn right.
And they went out both of them into the
Turn
field.
right.
And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time, or the third day, and behold, if there be good toward David, and I then send not unto thee, and show it thee, the Lord do so and much more to Jonathan. But if it please my father to do thee evil, then I will show it thee, and send thee away, that thou mayest go in peace. And the Lord be with thee, as he hath been with my father. And thou shalt not only while yet I live show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not, but also thou shalt not cut off thy kindness from my house forever. No, not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth.
Rob Pon, you're
So
sure you
Jonathan
sent it
made
to
a
me?
covenant with the house
Yeah,
of David,
Rob
saying,
Pong.
Let
It's
the
a
Lord
little
even
black
require
circle with
at the
like
hand of David's enemies.
the Libra sign or
And
scales
Jonathan
or something
caused
like
David to
that,
swear
right?
again, because
That's
he
you.
loved him, for he loved him.
I sent
as
an
he
invite
loved
to
his
you
own
and I sent an
soul.
invite to Phil.
Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty.
And Phil's
When
probably
thou
not
hast
here
stayed
right now,
3
but
days, then thou shalt go down quickly, and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shalt remain by the stone easel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying,
Rob Pon, no.
Go,
My
find
logo
out
is
the
upon
arrows.
wearing headphones in
If
white.
I expressly say unto the lad,
it's black background
Behold, the
with
arrows
white
are on
graphic,
this side
right?
of thee. Take them. Then come thou, for there is
Yeah, I
peace
think
to
that's
thee,
it.
and no hurt, as the Lord liveth.
I mean, you're the only
But
Rob Pong.
if I say
Rob
thus
Pon,
unto the young
transparent
man,
background.
Behold, the arrows are beyond thee.
In that case, yeah.
Go thy way, for for the
it
Lord
would be that,
hath sent thee away.
because the background
As
to
touching the
the app
matter
is
which
black.
thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Lord be between thee and me forever. So David hid
Romania
himself
in the case
field,
you have it dark.
and when the new moon was come,
Yeah.
the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side.
I mean, I've never tried it
David's
before.
place
I've been
was
curious to
empty.
try it.
Nevertheless, Saul spake
Ron,
not
I
anything
don't see
that day,
anything.
for he thought something
Did
hath
not even
befallen
got an
him.
email.
He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass
Tell
on
you
the
what,
morrow,
let's just cheat
which was
and
the second
pause
day
the
of the
game.
month, that David's place
And
was
tab
empty.
out again.
And Saul said unto Jonathan his son,
Right.
Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our
A
family hath a
virtual
sacrifice
camera.
in the city, and my brother
Okay,
he
I
hath
don't really
commanded
need
me to
that
be
camera
there.
in group.
And now,
do
if
I?
I have found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse, rebellious woman,
Window.
do not I know that thou hast
ATS.
chosen the son of Jesse to thine
And
own
then
confusion,
share.
and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father, and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him,
That
whereby
seems
Jonathan knew
to
that it was determined of
have
his father
broken.
to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and did eat no meat the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. And it came to pass in the
Show
morning
on screen.
that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with
Turn
David,
camera
and a
on.
little lad with him. And he said unto his lad,
New audio.
Run.
Share
Find out
screen.
now the arrows which I
End
shoot.
stream together.
And as the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows, and came to his master. But the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad,
Yeah,
and
apparently
said unto
that's
him,
sharing.
Go, carry them
Okay,
to the
that
city.
works better.
And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of a place toward the south, and fell on his face to the
I
ground,
don't want to show
and
that
bowed
on
himself 3
stream.
times. And they kissed one another, and wept one with another, until David exceeded. And Jonathan said
Okay,
to
I'll tell
David,
you what.
Go in peace,
Let's
forasmuch as
stop
we have
sharing
sworn,
that.
both of us, in the name of the Lord,
Let's
saying,
end
The
stream
Lord be
together.
between me and thee, and between my seed
Okay.
and thy seed forever.
Rob Pon, I click
Restart.
enter your
And
VOD
he
on stream
arose
together link.
and departed.
It seems that
and
I will need
Jonathan
to set up
went
OBS
into the
source at
city.
first.
Alright, okay. You managed to get. So it was working.
Then came
Okay,
David
let's
to Nob, to Ahimelech
try
the
that
priest.
again.
And Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of
I
David, and said unto
restarted
him,
it.
Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? And David
Browse the
said unto
source
Ahimelech the priest,
URL.
The king hath commanded
Main
me a business,
scene.
and hath said unto me, Let no man
Um,
know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I
Add
have
a
commanded
browser
thee.
source.
And I have appointed my servants
Uh,
to such and such a place. Now therefore,
Stream
what is under thine hand?
together.
Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread under mine hand,
10,
but there is hallowed bread,
no,
if the young men have kept
1920
themselves at least from
by
women.
1080.
And David answered the priest and said unto
The
him,
link is
Of a truth,
this thing
women have
here.
been kept from us about
which
these
is a
3
weak
days
link.
since I came out, and
Audio
the vessels
via
of the young men are holy,
OBS.
and the bread is in
Custom
a manner
frame
common,
rate,
yea, though it was sanctified this
60
day in the vessel.
FPS.
So the priest gave him hallowed bread,
Never
for there was no
exceed
bread
that.
there but the show bread that was taken from before the Lord, to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. Now a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord,
that.
and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chiefest of the herdmen that belonged to Saul. And David said unto Ahimelech, and is there not here under thine hand spear or sword?
Okay, apparently
For
it
I have
is
neither
now
brought my
the
sword nor my
first
weapons
and
with
foremost
me, because the
over
king's
thing
business
on my
required
stream.
haste. And the priest said, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom thou
And now
slewest
I
in
guess
the
I
valley
just
of
wait
Elah.
for you
Behold,
to
it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the
set
ephod.
set it
thou
up
wilt
your
take
end.
that, take it, for there is no other save that here.
I
And
shall
David said, there is
fade
none
out,
like that.
fade away
Give it me.
momentarily.
And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish the king of Gath. And the servants of Achish said unto him, is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing
I'm
one
still
to
here,
another
I'm
of
just
him
not
in
on
dances,
camera at the
saying,
moment.
Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David laid up these words in his heart, and was sore afraid of Achish the king of Gath. And he changed his behavior before them, and
But I
feigned
mean,
himself mad
it can't be
in
that
their hands,
complicated for
and
you to set
scrabbled
it
on
up.
the doors of the gate, and let his spittle
Surely.
fall down upon his beard. Then said Achish unto his servants, Lo, ye see
Invite
the
or
man is
start
mad.
requests to bring up
Wherefore
guests
then
on
have ye brought him
stream.
to me?
Invite
Have I need
a
of
guest.
madmen, that ye have brought this fellow to play the madman
Rob.
in my presence? Shall this
Paul.
fellow come into my house?
And there's a pawn with the earphones on it.
David
Stream
therefore
together.
departed thence, and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house
Send
heard
the
it,
invite.
they went down thither to
Right.
him.
You've
And
been
every
invited,
one that was in
apparently.
distress, and every one that was in debt, and every one that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. And David went thence to Mizpeh of Moab,
Okay.
and he
That's
said
my
unto the king
camera,
of
which I
Moab,
don't really
Let
want to
my
set
father
up.
and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you, till I know what God will do for me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold.
Unless, of course, I've
And
got
the
to run
prophet Gad
OBS virtual
said unto
camera
David,
for that.
Abide not in the hold, depart and get thee into the land of
Stream
Judah.
together session
Then
via
David
your browser
departed and came
URL.
into
Rob
the
Pon, I
forest
think
of
I have
Hareth.
to go live as well.
When Saul heard
Oh,
that
wait a
David was
minute.
discovered,
Copy link.
and the men that were with him, now Saul
And
abode
then
in Gibeah under a tree in
after I
Ramah,
copy
having his
link,
spear in his hand,
I
and all his servants were standing
have to
about him.
find chat here.
Then Saul said unto his servants
And
that
then
stood about
if I
him,
drop that link,
Hear now,
Sing
ye Benjamites. Will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all
start.
captains of thousands and captains of hundreds?
if you click
Yet
that,
all of you have conspired
it might
against
do
me,
things.
and there is none that showeth me that my son hath made a league with the son of Jesse.
And
And
I'm
there is
not
none of
actually
you that is
sure if
sorry
you have
for
to
me,
go
or
live
showeth
as well
unto
or
me that my
not.
son hath stirred up my servant against me, to lie in wait, as at this day. Then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the
Ads
son of
inbound
Jesse
boss.
coming to Nob, to Ahimelech,
Enjoy
the
the
son of
ads.
Ahitub, and he inquired of the Lord for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then the king sent to call Ahimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, the priests that were in Nob. And they came, all of them, to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord.
Rob Pon
And
ads.
Saul said unto him, Why have ye conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that thou hast given
Rob
him
Pon
bread and
worst
a
moment
sword,
XD.
and hast inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me to lie in wait, as at this day? Then Ahimelech answered the king, and said, And who is so faithful among all thy servants as David,
Rob
which is the
Pon ID
king's
did something and
son-in-law,
I can choose a
and goeth
webcam
at
and
thy
my mic.
bidding, and is honorable in thine house? Did I
Yeah,
then
that
begin
should
to
be it.
inquire of God for him? Be it far from me. Let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father. For thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou, and all thy father's
Zing, that
house.
should be it.
And the king
Okay,
said unto
the
the
ads
footmen
are
that stood
over.
about him,
And apparently,
and
I
slay
can
the
see
priests of
a
the Lord,
very dark
because
camera
their hand also is with David, and because
and a
they
tiny
knew when
little
he
blue
fled
light.
and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Lord.
I can see
the
something.
king
It's
said
like,
to
is that your
Doeg,
pedal cam?
Turn thou and fall upon the priests. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priests.
I can see
And
something.
on
I
that
wonder what
day
my stream looks
65
like.
persons
That's the
that
thing
did
we've
wear
got
a
to
linen ephod.
check.
And Nob, the city of the priests, smote he with the
You know
edge
what?
of the sword, both men and
Ads
women,
are just,
children and sucklings, and oxen and asses and sheep, with the edge of the sword. And one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David.
Right.
And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the Lord's priests. And David said unto Abiathar, I knew it that day, when Doeg
3
the
minutes an
Edomite was
hour.
there,
I
that he
don't
would
want
surely tell
automatic
Saul,
length.
I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house.
That's what I want. Why did it change my
Abide thou with me.
settings for my
Fear
ads?
not, for he that seeketh my life seeketh thy life. But with me thou shalt be in safeguard. Then they told David, saying, Behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and they rob the threshing
Right,
floors.
okay. 3
Therefore
minutes
David
of
inquired
ads
of the Lord,
every
saying,
hour.
Shall I go and smite these Philistines? And the Lord said unto David, Go, and smite the Philistines, and save Keilah. And David's
I
men
did
said
set
unto
up
him,
a warning,
Behold, we be
an
afraid
audio
here
warning
in Judah. How much more then if we come to
that
Keilah
warns
against
me
the
when the
armies of the
ads have ended.
Philistines? Then David
But I can
inquired of
see
the Lord yet
something
again.
there.
And the
Let's
Lord
go
answered him and
Stream
said,
Manager.
Arise, go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into thine hand. So David and
But
his
I
men
don't
went to
see
Keilah
you
and
on
fought
the
with the
layout. I've had it
Philistines,
set to
and
the
brought away their
layout.
cattle, and smote them with a great slaughter. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it came to pass, when Abiathar the son of Ahimelech fled to David to Keilah, that he came down with an ephod in his hand.
No, that's... Oh, show
And it
on
was told
stream.
Saul that
Ready to
David was
push
come to
guest, show
Keilah.
on stream.
And
Do
Saul
not show
said,
again.
God hath delivered him
Yes,
into mine
show
hand,
guests.
for he is shut in by entering into a town that hath gates and bars. And
Apparently,
Saul
you should
called all the people
appear
together to
your
war,
feed.
to go down to Keilah, to besiege David and his men. And David knew that Saul secretly
Open
practiced
link in
mischief
new
against him.
tab.
And he said to Abiathar the priest, Bring
Well,
hither
that's
the
weird.
ephod.
It's not
Then said David,
working.
O Lord, God of Israel,
For some
thy
reason, I
servant
can't
hath
see
certainly
it
heard that
on
Saul
my
seeketh
stream.
to come to Keilah, to destroy the city for my sake. Will the men of
I'm going to
Keilah
work this
deliver me
out. I
up
don't care
into
what it
his hand?
takes, right?
Will Saul come down, as thy servant hath heard? O Lord God of Israel, I beseech
Include
thee,
camera and
tell
group
thy
chat.
servant.
What does that do?
And the Lord said, He will come down. Then said David, Will the men of Keilah
Apparently
deliver me
nothing.
and my men into the hand of Saul?
Um,
And the Lord said, They will deliver thee up.
okay.
Then David
I don't
and his
need
men,
that.
which were about 600,
Rom,
arose
can't
and
you hear me?
departed out of Keilah, and went
Can you
whithersoever
hear
they
me?
could go. And it was told Saul that David was escaped from Keilah, and he forbare to go forth.
Rob Pawn.
And David abode in the wilderness in
pin
strongholds,
guests.
and remained in a
Remove.
mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but God delivered him not into his hand. And David saw that Saul was come
great.
out to seek his life.
Getting the volume to 100
And David
is
was in the
difficult.
wilderness of Ziph in a wood. And Jonathan,
Just
Saul's
add
son,
to
arose
favourites.
and went to David into the wood,
Okay,
and
whisper
strengthened his
guest.
hand in God.
Move
he said unto
to
him,
slot,
Fear not, for the hand of
Well,
Saul
you're in
my
slot
father shall
one.
not find thee,
right?
and thou shalt be king
Push.
over Israel, and I shall be next unto thee.
Uh,
And that also Saul my father knoweth. And they two made a covenant before the Lord. And David abode in the wood, and Jonathan went to his house. Then came up the
How
Ziphites
do
to
I
Saul to
move
Gibeah,
you
saying,
to
Doth
slot
not David hide himself with us in strongholds in the wood, in the hill of Hachilah, which is on the south of Jeshimon? Now therefore, O king, come down
Does that
according to
work?
all the desire of thy soul to come down, and our part shall be to deliver him into the king's hand.
Group browser
And
source?
Saul said, Blessed be ye of the Lord.
Oh,
for
that's
ye
because
have
I'm on the
compassion on
wrong
me.
thing.
Go, I pray you.
Ah, look there.
Prepare
That's what your
yet,
camera looks
and know
like.
and see his place where his haunt is, and who hath seen him there. For it is told me that he dealeth very subtly.
Now, how do I get
See
you?
therefore, and take knowledge of all the lurking places
I
where he
want
hideth himself, and come ye again to
get
me with the
you
certainty, and I will go with you. And it shall come to pass,
on the
if
right.
he be in the land, that I will search him out throughout all the
And
thousands of Judah.
Move you to
And they
slot
arose
1.
and went to Ziph before
Let's
Saul.
see what that's done.
But David and his men were in the wilderness
Okay,
of Maon,
let's put you
in the
above
plain
me head.
on the south of Jeshimon. Saul also and his men went to seek him, and they told David, wherefore he came down into a rock
on the left.
and abode in the wilderness
There
of
we
Maon.
go.
And when Saul heard that, he pursued after David in
Let's
the
see what
wilderness
that
of Maon.
looks like.
And Saul went on this side of the
Right,
mountain,
that's not a very
and
good
David and his
spot,
men on
though.
that side of the mountain. And David made haste to get away for fear of Saul. For
Move
Saul
you
and his
to,
men
I don't know,
compassed David and his men round about to take them.
slot.
But there came a messenger unto
3.
Saul, saying, Haste thee, and come, for the Philistines have invaded the land. Wherefore Saul returned from pursuing after David.
I don't think
and
it's
went
going to
against
let
the
me move you.
Philistines.
It's just
Therefore they called
like
that
an
place
auto
Selah
placement thing.
Hamalakoth. And
It
David
looks
went
like,
up from thence,
yeah,
and dwelt in strongholds at Engedi.
that sucks.
And it came to pass, when Saul was returned from following the Philistines, that it was told him,
Well, I mean,
saying,
it's still cool,
Behold,
but I mean, you can
David
see
is
the
in
camera,
the wilderness
right?
of Engedi. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats.
I mean, you're
And he
there,
came to the sheep
which I
cotes
think
by
is
the way,
really
Rob
cool.
Pong,
where
yes.
was a cave.
But
And
I mean,
Saul
I
went
can't
in to
see
cover
you.
his feet.
That's the thing. All I
David
see
and
is
his
like a
men
dark black
Rob
screen.
Pong, I
in
think
the
you
sides
muted
of
me.
the cave. And the men of
Well,
David said unto him, Behold, the day
Can
of
you
which
hear
the
me
Lord
through the
said unto
browser?
thee,
Oh, wait a minute.
Behold, I will deliver thine enemy
That's a
into
good
thine
point.
hand, that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good
Maybe
unto
it's
thee.
because I have
Then
the
David
sight.
arose and cut off the skirt
And
of Saul's
oh, you're
robe
streaming
privily.
your screen, are you?
And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt.
It is
And he said unto his
possible
men,
that my
The Lord forbid that I should do
My
this thing unto my master,
browser
the Lord's
mute
anointed,
thing
to stretch forth mine hand against him,
has
seeing he is the anointed of the Lord.
muted
So David stayed his servants with these words, and suffered them not to rise against Saul.
twitchtv.com.
But Saul rose up
That is
out of the cave and
twitchtv.com.
went on his way. David also arose afterward, and went out of the cave, and cried
In
after
which case,
Saul,
I may
saying,
need to actually refresh
My
it.
lord, the king. And when Saul looked behind him, David stooped with his face to the earth, and bowed himself.
Okay.
And David said to Saul,
Um,
Wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, Behold, David seeketh thy hurt? Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Lord had delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave. And some bade
oh
me
well,
kill
let's
thee,
throw that
but
on the
mine eyes
stream
spared
and
thee.
see what happens.
And I said, I will not put forth mine hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. Moreover, my father, see,
Oh, wow.
yea, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand.
That
For
has
in that I cut
just
off the skirt of thy robe,
done
and
amazing
killed thee
things
not,
to my stream.
know
Wait a
thou
minute, I
and
think
see
I need
that
to
there is
set
neither
that up.
evil nor transgression in mine hand, and I have not
Rob
sinned
Pongom.
against thee. Yet thou huntest my
Rob
soul
Pon
to take
OMG.
it. The
Yeah,
Lord
what have I
judge between
done?
me and thee, and the Lord avenge me of thee,
I
but
have-
mine
oh.
hand shall not be
I see
upon thee.
things.
As saith the proverb of the ancients, wickedness
But
proceedeth
still,
from
that's
the wicked,
just like, okay, that's
but
it.
mine
Let's just
hand
take the
shall
screen
not be
share
upon
off.
thee. After whom is the king of Israel come out? After whom dost thou pursue? After a dead dog? after a flea. The Lord therefore be judge, and judge
Right
between
on the
me
bottom
and thee,
there.
and see and plead my cause,
Preview
and deliver me out
stream
of thine
output.
hand. And it came to pass, when David had made an end of speaking these words unto Saul, that
Oh,
Saul
wait a
said,
minute.
Is
That
this
has,
thy
what has that
voice,
done?
my son David?
I don't think
And
that's done
Saul
anything.
lifted up his voice and wept.
Oh,
And he said
now
to
I've got
David,
two black cameras.
Thou art more righteous than I,
Okay, this is
for thou hast rewarded me good, whereas I have
complicated.
rewarded thee evil. And thou hast showed this day how that thou hast dealt well with me, forasmuch as when the Lord had delivered me into thine hand, thou killedst me not.
Oh,
For
I
if a
don't
man
want
find
that
his
camera
enemy,
on there
will he
anyway.
let him go well
The
away?
idea is to
Wherefore
have
the
you
Lord
on
reward
here.
thee good, for that thou hast done unto me this day. And now, behold, I know well that thou shalt surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in thine hand. Swear now therefore unto me by the Lord, that thou wilt not cut off my seed after me, and that thou wilt not destroy my name
I mean,
out
I
of
know
my
that
father's
I can.
house. And David sware unto Saul. And Saul went home,
Well, I'll leave your
but David and his
screen
men
share on.
gat them up unto the hall.
I can hardly see anything. I mean,
And Samuel died, and all the Israelites were gathered together and lamented him, and buried him in his house at Ramah.
oh, I can hear
And
you.
David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran.
Wait a minute.
And there was a man in Maon
Let me
whose
pause
possessions were in
Joshua.
Carmel.
Samuel. Hello, Rob.
Hey,
What's going on, man? Looks like I'm going to have to turn you up. Say something?
something.
Okay. Got you at 200%, and you sound pretty good in my head. Right, all I need to do now is see your camera.
I can't show you.
What
So
you
the
don't...
problem is, like I said, it seems to be that this extension crashes my Asus Aura program. So I cannot turn on lights yet. It
Oh,
just fucks up
it
when I
crashes.
try to click it. Yeah,
Ah, dear.
I don't get it.
Because, I mean, if you could get, like, your camera and...
Completely crashed now.
Huh?
It's completely crashed now.
Oh, it's locked up and just died.
So yeah, I can turn on the cam, but it's pitch black dark in my room here. So it's the middle of the night.
Ah.
And if I'm not able to activate my LEDs, then it stays that dark.
Oh, you use your PC to turn on your lighting?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
at least the LEDs.
Is that Tiberium from Command and Conquer 3?
What?
Tiberium from Command and Conquer 3 on your desktop background.
Oh no, that's shattered glass and some green liquid.
It looks like Tiberium
Oh, okay.
from Command and Conquer. Yeah, I mean, I have an old analog light bulb for my lighting, you know, because I'm pure pro, right?
Hmm.
So you use RGB software to do all your lighting. That is pretty cool. That is quite pro.
Yeah, kind of. The good thing is you have all the effects on sound activation thingy or background. You can catch the background of the screen and match it or match the LEDs to the color of the screen.
Oh, wow.
Something like the Philips Ambilight.
That's just Sounds
I'm
like way
just
too
using,
expensive tech for me.
yeah, then I have a script, a Python script for Assetto Corsa that when I brake, the lights flash red.
Oh, nice. That is pretty neat. But now trying to just get lights just to turn on is broken.
I tried to update the software now. Maybe it's the update, the missing update, which is causing the trouble now. But I somehow I have the feeling that Twitch is fucking around with my computer here, and I actually I don't like it.
Well, I mean, you need to give access to your browser to use your virtual webcam. You're using a
Yeah, I
virtual
had
webcam,
to
right?
I had to agree that they have access to microphone and webcam
Yeah.
so far, but who knows what they have access to right now.
Well, it should just be mic and webcam. I mean, that's like Windows settings you mess around with to sort that out. Anyway, I mean, it's interesting though that we can do something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
they've right. It's beta version at the moment.
yeah,
Still work in progress.
it is cool. You know, the fact that, you know, I could be doing something like truck sim and, you know, just have another bro, you know what I mean? One of the crew just
Yeah.
chilling out. I mean, you're watching, you know, saves you typing. And for anybody else that comes in there while we're having a little chit chat, you know, they can obviously see my reaction, right? And then they can see your reaction. And that's the thing that's always interested me, because I wanted to do a like a talk show just chatting thing, like me, Dave, William, and Phil, right? Because that'd be hilarious whilst playing Elite Dangerous. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll fire up Elite Dangerous and then we just start, well, talking crap. You know? And something like that has a lot of appeal to me because I'm quite chatty, you know? I'm very internet social. Even without marijuana and alcohol. Because I haven't had any of that in a long time, right? And I mean, after all, you need something to keep you awake when you're trucking, what was it, 2,500 miles, something like that?
For what?
Well, this haul that I'm doing is like 2,500 miles.
Oh, okay.
And I've got 1,300 to go.
What the fuck is going on?
I'll bet you wish you had a hardware RGB controller right now.
I do have.
All right. Yeah, I'm curious actually. Like, do you have one of those meters that can tell you how many watts you're drawing from the wall?
No, I don't think so.
Just like how many watts adding RGB to your setup costs somebody, you know?
Oh, there are a couple of strips I'm using here. But yeah, LEDs don't use that much. Oh! Oh, I saw something.
Oh, we have the Eagle has landed, has it?
At least the graphics card is glowing yet, and the stripes was flashing short. There we go. But I don't
Me.
think.
Pause the game and investigate the results.
Oh yeah, it does something.
Oh, I see a wheel.
Yeah,
Excellent.
the wheel.
Yeah, I can see your wheel on my stream, which is neat. Ah, nice. Is it really just that easy? Are they like
Yeah.
magnetic clamps?
No, no, no.
Oh, click
It
release.
is. How can I describe?
Quick release, yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see it. Probably not. It's too dark, I guess. There are balls in the
Uh-huh.
silver things you can see, little balls, and they snap onto the shaft here. There are
Okay.
little holes in there.
Yeah, nice. That is pretty neat. Quick release. So you got quick release,
Yeah,
but
it's
I bet
great.
you only have one rim, right?
I do have from Trustmaster another one,
Ah,
but I would need to modify
yeah, you need an
something.
adapter.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only
And
rim
yeah,
you're ever
the
going to use, right?
Trustmaster. Yeah, that one I use.
Yeah. Is that the one that
Um,
you adapted onto your old Thrustmaster base?
yeah, it was already on the G27.
Now, I'm curious. Can I not pop out this window? I can't. That sucks. Because if I could pop out your cam as like picture in picture and then keep on top, then I could have it over the top of my windowed stream. So I could actually see your camera on a single monitor whilst I'm actually gaming, right? Then I'll be able to see your reaction as well, but it just won't let me do it. You know? Keep right clicking
Yeah.
it. And unfortunately, there
Yeah,
is
you
no.
just can. I think it's just going by the browser thingy where we sit in this backstage session, where you can
Yeah,
see my screen.
that's the only way I can actually see that feed. I mean, pin guest? What have I done? Oh, I've made you massive. I've broken it. I think I've totally broken it. What have I done? Yeah, I've broken it. What happens if I click this? Have I broken it even more? I think I've broken it big time now. You know what I mean? We're going to get like Inception, Camception. Although that's cool how it's sort of like pinned it to the left, right? Because now you can still see me. So I could theoretically use this to stop for a minute and then be talking to you. Like I could interview you, Rob. You know, and I wouldn't have to mess with my camera because my
Rob
camera's
Han
just
LOL, you muted
conveniently.
me again.
Ah, did I? Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this thing works, man. You know, how do I unpin you? I don't know how to unpin you. No, that's screen share. It's complicated because you see, I don't know where you went. Get started. Yeah, but then again, I mean, audio only. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Right. Yeah, but I want to close that. I think you have to disable your thing. I don't know how to select you. Oh, wait a minute. Did I just do it? No, that's you looking at my stream. Top, bottom, left, right. Yeah, bottom. Can you stop your screen share? Okay, has that fixed it?
Let's see.
Oh, I can hear
Now
you
we
again
me.
now.
You
Yeah,
can.
yes.
What?
Okay.
That's weird. So maybe it's capturing the screen audio,
It was
desktop audio.
probably. But now I can see like your wheel and stuff. Do you have the camera that points at you?
No, not really.
This like the
Because
one, the
it's
side one that you use, where you can sort of like see
I'm
you
not
and.
in my rig app setup right at the moment.
Oh, that's going to
So
make it complicated. Oh, I see.
it is a bit difficult always. I have to move a couple of monitors and screens and yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, don't bother with that. But now the thing is, I've got you in massive mode.
Massive.
Yeah, look at the size.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So, but here it would be nice if you could decide that this webcam is transparent. So a little bit opacity.
well, I mean, I can put opacity in
Can
it
see the
through
truck behind.
OBS, you know? But the only thing
Oh,
is
yeah.
now I'm just trying to work out how do I make it. Obviously, I want it on the bottom. And I want you in like, I don't know, slot 1. But now it's mega massive. I have no idea how to make it tiny again.
In OBS maybe?
Well, no, OBS is supposed to be full screen, and then it's supposed to put it like.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to. I don't know. Can you sort of like, I don't know. Can you restart your camera, like turn it off and then turn it on again?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll work, and it should put it back to like normal. I'd hope.
But
Ads inbound, boss.
It's not. But I would try at first making the cam smaller in OBS. Ads.
Well, no. It's supposed to take the full screen camera and share it out between like, like there's options that I can choose. Like tiled, can have it on the top, the bottom, and all sorts.
Yeah, on the Twitch browser side, do you see on the top left corner output for group
Yeah, group
detection
capture.
or something?
Yeah.
Can you make there something?
Well, there's only like
left,
6
right?
buttons, like left.
I think that's the thing you have to use.
Then right, and it's still just in massive mode.
Why is it massive?
It's because it's with Rob Pawn and Rob Pawn. It's like you're here twice. which is weird. I really don't understand what's going on here. Probably going to have to stop the entire thing and start it again.
So, see, John, I think there are two different ways to get this into OBS. So you copy the link and put it into a source, right? So now you can decide between make a group where you see when we have, for example, 5 people in here, that you have all 5 cameras from the dudes, or you decide to just copy the link for one specific cam.
I mean, I can share my screen with you with the screen share thing.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So, I mean, now you'd always be able to see.
ATS.
Yeah. Now, if I do show on stream, what does that do? Does that fix the brokenness of this?
Now we see your screen and my cam. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not really what I wanted to do. Because that makes the quality of the image worse.
Which link do you copied from the browser side of Twitch?
The one in the bottom left where it says copy source
Group.
URL.
Yeah, go just to the webcam and copy. There are 3 dots for options. And there you copy the link. Try that one.
Ah. Oh, I see. Oh, this is genius. Oh, I like this. And now, if I just go to properties, right? And then grab your link. You are massive, bro. And now, oh, what have I done? Control Z. I want to keep the aspect ratio. Perfect. And then get my video capture.
Perfect. There you go.
Stick that there. And then get that roughly to the height that mine is. Which is just a tiny bit bigger. About there. Drag that there. Actually. Make it about the same size as my head. There we go. And then there we go. Oh, that is brilliant. That is genius.
So
now that is quality.
Now we can make a channel point redemption for you driving, and I try to make the movement with the wheel. So that the people have the imagination that this is the
No
driver.
shifting. Yeah, exactly. You know? Well, a direct drive emulation. Do you know what I mean? Totally. So I'm not sure what the latency is like. Do you know what I mean by that? Let me get this stream together, copy it, paste it into here on the AFK scene, and then we'll go to transform center horizontally lock. Right, okay, there we go. You're the driver now, apparently. Let me just disable the preview there. And
Rob Pon, you muted me again.
Oh, really? This is broken. How? Oh, come on. Why is it so complicated? How have I muted you? Okay, how do I stop sharing screen? Right, okay. Say something? No, I don't hear. Mute, unmute, mute, unmute. Turn mic off, turn mic on.
Rob Pong cause you changed the link source thingy.
Oh, really? I'm hearing you when you
Rob Pong
talk.
from group to single cam.
Ah, how annoying. In that case, how annoying. Properties. Okay. Right, okay, well, I changed it back now. Say something? Still nothing. I mean, why is this so broken? Properties. Ends in TE. Yeah, that's the same one. Properties, refresh, maybe? Okay, and now? You know what, right? I think we should just not touch anything that's to do with screen sharing and just shut this down and fire it up again. I reckon. That's what I'm going to do. Like, have you tried turning it off and then on again? That is the theory here. So, end stream together. Okay. Restart stream together. I understand. Safety. Invite guest. Rob Paul.
Rob
Send
Pong nice
invite.
function.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I mean, that's just, that's it, isn't it? Stick you on the bottom. Right, okay, and then Rob joins. And it shows your logo. And now all I see is a black screen. It shows your logo again. And I see the wheel. And can I hear you? Audio's unmuted. Mics are on. Ah, show on stream. Of course. Got to click the show on screen stream thing. Now, hopefully, it should work. Hopefully. Now you're mega tiny. Why isn't that working? Ah, because it's locked. There. Transform. Stretch the screen, lock. Transform. for some reason.
Rob
Okay.
on my cam dash 3 dots for settings dash volume.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. Just remove this. Copy it from here. Paste it into here. And it's still broken. And for some reason, no, there we go. Let me stretch it now. Okay, so that's the way it should be. Your volume, wait a minute, 3 dots. Whisper guest, move to slot, volume. Try muting and then unmuting. That's unmuted. That's unmuted. Refresh that, refresh that. That's why. Naturally. And then, I don't know, refresh this site. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, now it works. It's because I had Twitch TV muted with the mute tab thing. My end. Probably. I'm getting this little
Rob on when you
poor
deactivate
connection.
my mic and cam and reactivate, I have to activate the things again as well.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. I didn't even know that. Wow, this is just mega overcomplicated, isn't it? But I mean, it's great that it works. But I won't mess with anything now. Hopefully we still have sound. It's a lot of messing about, isn't it? But anyway, so long as those things remain this way, it's interesting. I mean, worst case scenario, you can type if it all breaks bad.
Rob on, I think it's just about who is controlling the things.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trial and error. You know, trial and error working it out. You know? But I mean, I think I get a rough gist of it. You know, it's not, I mean, it is reasonably thought out, but still, it's lacking a lot of features. It needs that YouTube picture-in-picture HTML5, whatever it is, extension. But each person's
Rob, check
camera.
your stream.
Okay, let's have a look at my stream. Is it completely broke? Oh, it's done that again. Why has it done that again? Also, it says poor connection, apparently. And it's still in massive mode, isn't it? Now it's gone mega full screen. You know what, Rob?
Rob on, you did the group link again?
Yeah. Yep, I did the group link again.
Rob on anyway, time to eat for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, currently, I think the best way for us to do this thing is just to get on Discord. But I mean, you know what I mean. I think Discord is the win here. Be honest, you know. Then you can picture pop out the donkey. But okay, thanks for at least letting me mess around with it. You know, it was interesting. Right? Let's turn that off. End stream together.
Rob Pon, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. You know? I definitely need to pick which TTS overlay do I really want? That is the question, isn't it? Do I want that one? Right? Or do I want that one? I think I want restream chat. I think. Yeah. Yeah, I want restream chat, I think. And capture video. We turn stream elements off.
Rob Pon, okay, I will lurk for now.
Yeah.
See you later.
All right, mate. God bless, man. Thanks for showing up, and I appreciate the lurk. Really appreciate the lurk. Right. Let's go into full screen. Fangle dangle mode.
1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding, and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings, and he was of the house of Caleb. And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. And David sent out 10 young men. And David said unto the young men, Get you up to Carmel, and go to Nabal, and greet him in my name. And thus shall he say to him that liveth in prosperity, Peace be both to thee, and peace be to thine house, and peace be unto all that thou hast. And now I have heard that thou hast shearers. Now thy shepherds which were with us, we hurt them not, neither was there aught missing unto them, all the while they were in Carmel. Ask thy young men, and they will show thee. Wherefore let the young men find favor in thine eyes, for we come in a good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand unto thy servants, and to thy son David. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David, and ceased. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers, and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be? So David's young men turned their way, and went again, and came and told him all those sayings. And David said unto his men, Gird ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the fields. They were a wall unto us, both by night and day, all the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do. For evil is determined against our master, and against all his household. For he is such a son of Belial, that a man cannot speak to him. Then Abigail made haste, and took 200 loaves, and 2 bottles of wine, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched corn, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on asses. And she said unto her servants, Go on before me, behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. And it was so, as she rode on the ass, that she came down by the covert on the hill. And behold, David and his men came down against her, and she met them. Now David had said, Surely in vain have I kept all that this fellow hath in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that pertained unto him, and he hath requited me evil for good. So and more also do God unto the enemies of David, if I leave of all that pertain to him by the morning light any that pisseth against the wall. And when Abigail saw David, she hastened and lighted off the ass, and fell before David on her face, and bowed herself to the ground, and fell at his feet, and said, Upon me, my lord, upon me let this iniquity be, and let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience, and hear the words of thine handmaid. Let not my lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal. For as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my lord, whom thou didst send. Now therefore, my lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, seeing the Lord hath withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thine own hand, now let thine enemies, and they that seek evil to my lord, be as Nabal. And now this blessing which thine handmaid hath brought unto my lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid. For the Lord will certainly make my lord a sure house, because my lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, enemies. Yet a man is risen to pursue thee and to seek thy soul. But the soul of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of life with the Lord thy God. And the souls of thine enemies, them shall he sling out, as out of the middle of a sling. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have done to my Lord according to all the good that he hath spoken concerning thee, and shall have appointed thee ruler over Israel, that this shall be no grief unto thee, nor offense of heart unto my Lord, either that thou hast shed blood causeless, or that my Lord hath avenged himself. But when the Lord shall have dealt well with my Lord, then remember thine handmaid. And David said to Abigail, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou, which hast kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with mine own hand. For in very deed, as the Lord God of Israel, surely there had not been left unto Nabal by the morning light any that pisseth against the wall. So David received of her hand that which she had brought him, and said unto her, Go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice, and have accepted thy person. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing less or more until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. It came to pass about 10 days after that the Lord smote Nabal, and he died. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be the Lord, that hath pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and hath kept his servant from evil. For the Lord hath returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail, to take her to him to wife. When the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent us unto thee, to take thee to him to wife. And she arose, and bowed herself on her face to the earth, and said, Behold, let thine handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord. And Abigail hasted and arose, and rode upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers that went after her. And she went after the messengers of David, and became his wife. David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they were also both of them his wives. But Saul had given Michal his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti,
Got some hair there.
Laish, which was of Galim.
Go straight on.
And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him, to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul pitched in the hill of Hachilah, which is before Jeshimon by the way, but David abode in the wilderness. And he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul was come in very deed. And David arose and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And David beheld the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his host. And Saul lay in the trench, and the people pitched round about him. Then answered David and said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai the son of Zeruiah, brother to Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul to the camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with thee. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the trench, and his spear stuck in the ground at his bolster. But Abner and the people lay round about him. Then said Abishai to David, God hath delivered thine enemy into thine hand this day. Now therefore let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear even to the earth at once, and I will not smite him the second time. And David said to Abishai, destroy him not. For who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? David said furthermore, As the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall descend into battle and perish. The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth mine hand against the Lord's anointed. But I pray thee, take thou now the spear that is at his bolster, and the cruse of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's bolster, and they gat them away, and no man saw it, nor knew it, neither awaked, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord was fallen upon them. Then David went over to the other side, and stood on the top of an hill, afar off, a great space being between them. And David cried to the people, and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Answerest thou not, Abner? And Abner answered and said, Who art thou that criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art not thou a valiant man? And who is like to thee in Israel? Wherefore then hast thou not kept thy lord the king? For there came one of the people in to destroy the king thy lord. This thing is not good that thou hast done. As the Lord liveth, ye are worthy to die, because ye have not kept your master the Lord's anointed. And now, see where the king's spear is, and the cruse of water that was at his bolster. And Saul knew David's voice, and said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And David said, It is my voice, my lord, O king. And he said, Wherefore doth my lord thus pursue after his servant? For what have I done, or what evil is in mine hand? Now therefore I pray thee, let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If the Lord have stirred thee up against me, let him accept an offering. But if they be the children of men, cursed be they before the Lord. For they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go serve other gods. Now therefore,
Risk the biscuit anymore, I
let
don't
not
think.
my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord. For the king of Israel is come out to seek a flea, as when one doth hunt a partridge in the mountains. Then said Saul, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will no more do thee harm, because my soul was precious in thine eyes this day. Behold, I have played the fool, and have erred exceedingly. And David answered and said, Behold the king's spear, and let one of the young men come over and fetch it. The Lord render to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness, for the Lord delivered thee into my hand today. But I would not stretch forth mine hand against the Lord's anointed. And behold, as thy life was much set by this day in mine eyes, so let my life be much set by in the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, Blessed be thou, my son David. Thou shalt both do great things, and also shalt still prevail. So David went on his way, and Saul returned to his place. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines, and Saul shall despair of me to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. And David arose, and passed over with the 600 men that were with him, unto Achish, the son of Maok, king of Gath. And David dwelt with Achish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, even David with his 2 wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail the Carmelitess, Nabal's wife. And it was told Saul that David was fled to Gath, and he sought no more again for him. And David said unto Achish, If I have now found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the royal city with thee? And Achish gave him Ziklag that day. Wherefore Ziklag pertaineth unto the kings of Judah unto this day. And the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. And David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites, and the Gezrites, and the Amalekites, for those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land, as thou goest to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt. And David smote the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep, and the oxen, and the asses, and the camels, and the apparel, and returned, and came to Achish. And Achish said, Whither have ye made a road today? And David said, Against the south of Judah, and against the south of the Jerahmeelites, and against the south of the Kenites. And David saved neither man nor woman alive, to bring tidings to Gath, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, So did David, and so will be his manner all the while he dwelleth in the country of the Philistines. And Achish
Go straight
believed
on.
David, saying, He hath made his people Israel utterly to abhor him. Therefore he shall be my servant forever. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men.
Go straight on.
David said to Achish, Surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore will I make thee keeper of mine head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together, and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself, and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die? And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid. For what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul
Go and
answered,
get a drink.
I am sore distressed. For the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me, for the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David, because thou obeyedst not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words, which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore, I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way. But he refused, and said, I will not eat. But his servants, together with the woman, compelled him, and he hearkened unto their voice. So he arose from the earth, and sat upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted, and killed it, and took flour, and kneaded it, and did bake unleavened bread thereof. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up, and went away that night. Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed on by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed on in the rearward with Achish. Then said the princes of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews here? And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, Is not this David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which hath been with me these days or these years? And I have found no fault in him, since he fell unto me unto this day. And the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, Make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he be an adversary to us. For wherewith should he reconcile himself unto his master? Should it not be with the heads of these men? Is not this David, of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Saul slew his thousands, and David his 10,000s? Then Achish called David, and said unto him, Surely as the Lord liveth, thou hast been upright, and thy going out and thy coming in with me in the host is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in thee since the day of thy coming unto me unto this day. Nevertheless, the Lord's favour thee not. Wherefore now return, and go in peace, that thou displease not the lords of the Philistines. And David said unto Achish, But what have I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant, so long as I have been with thee unto this day, that I may not go fight against the enemies of my lord the king? Achish answered and said to David, I know that thou art good in my sight as an angel of God. Notwithstanding, the princes of the Philistines have said, He shall not go up with us to the battle. Wherefore now rise up early in the morning with thy master's servants that are come with thee, and as soon as he be up early in the morning and have light, depart. So David and his men rose up early to depart in the morning, to return into the land of the Philistines. The Philistines went up to Jezreel. And it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away, and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept, until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken captives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at the Lord, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, Pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. So David went, he and the 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind, which was so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field, and brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he did eat, and they made him drink water, and they gave him a piece of a cake of figs, and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, To whom belongest thou? And whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me, because 3 days agone I fell sick. We made an invasion upon the south of the Kerethites, and upon the coast which belongeth to Judah, and upon the south of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. And David said to him, Canst thou bring me down to this company? And he said, Swear unto me by God, that thou wilt neither kill me, nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, and out of the land of Judah. And David smote them from the twilight even unto the evening of the next day, and there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men which rode upon camels and fled. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing lacking to them, neither small, great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil, nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. And David took all the flocks and the herds which they drave before those other cattle, and said, This is David's spoil. And David came to the 200 men which were so faint that they could not follow David, whom they had made also to abide at the brook Besor. And they went forth to meet David, and to meet the people that were with him. And when David came near to the people, he saluted them. Then answered all the wicked men, and the men of Belial, of those that went with David, and said, Because they went not with us, we will not give them aught of the spoil that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and his children, that they may lead them away and depart. Then said David, Ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which the Lord hath given us, who hath preserved us, and delivered the company that came against us into our hand. For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But as his part is that goeth down to the battle, so shall his part be that tarrieth by the stuff. They shall part alike. And it was so from that day forward, that he made it a statute and an ordinance for Israel unto this day. And when David came to Ziklag, he sent of the spoil unto the elders of Judah, even to his friends, saying, Behold a present for you of the spoil of the enemies of the Lord. To them which were in Bethel, and to them which were in South Ramoth, and to them which were in Jattir, and to them which were in Aroah, and to them which were in Siphmoth, and to them which were in Eshtemoa, and to them which were in Rachel, and to them which were in the city of the Jehoramelites, and to them which were in the cities of the Kenites, and to them which were in Hormah, and to them which were in Korashan, and to them which were in Athak, and to them which were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men were wont to haunt. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines, and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines followed hard upon Saul and upon his sons, and the Philistines slew Jonathan, and Abinadab, and Melchishua, Saul's sons. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. Then said Saul unto his armor-bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through and abuse me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took the sword, and fell upon it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword, and died with him. So Saul died, and his 3 sons, and his armor-bearer, and all his men, that same day together. And when the men of Israel that were on the other side of the valley, and they that were on the other side of Jordan, saw that the men of Israel fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled. And the Philistines came and dwelt in them. It came to pass on the morrow, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen in Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head, and stripped off his armor, and sent into the land of the Philistines round about to publish it in the house of their idols and among the people. And they put his armor in the house of
I'm
Ashdod,
blind. I can't see.
and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. And when the inhabitants of Jabesh-Gilead heard of that which the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and went all night, and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and came to Jabesh, and burnt them there. And they took their bones, and buried them under a tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. The Kings. Chapter 1. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It even came to pass on the 3rd day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent, and earth upon his head. And so it was when he came to David that he fell to the earth and did obeisance. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead, and Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and called unto me. And I answered, Here am I. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me. For anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him, and slew him, because I was sure he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I brought them hither unto my lord. Then David took hold on his clothes.
I think we're going to have to add a little bit of brightness.
And likewise all the men that were with
in
him.
graphics, I should be able to
And they
add some
mourned
brightness.
and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou?
We're going to have to use
And he
the
answered,
video control
I
panel.
am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of the young men and said,
Color settings.
Go near and fall upon him.
Add a touch of gamma.
And he smote him that he died.
1
And David
point.
said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth hath testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
It's a little bit better,
The
isn't it?
beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ascalon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away,
That is really
the shield
annoying.
of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the
Jitter.
sword of Saul returned not
My
empty.
pedals.
Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives.
I need to wash
And in their
the
death
butts
they
out.
were not divided. They were swifter
Proper.
than eagles. They were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places.
Ads
am
inbound
distressed
boss.
in thee, my brother Jonathan.
Enjoy the ads.
Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, Unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household. And they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, that ye have showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. And now the Lord show kindness and truth unto you, and I also will requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. And Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, and made him king over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. And Abner the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab the son of Zeruiah and the servants of David went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon. And they sat down, the one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said to Joab, Let the young men now arise and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. Then there arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side. So they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Helkath-Hazarim, which is in Gibeon. And there was a very sore battle that day.
Oh,
Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel, before the servants of David. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab, and Abishai, and Asahel. And Asahel was as light of foot as a wild roe. And Asahel pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand nor to the left, from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asahel? And he answered, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following of him. And Abner said again to Asahel, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother? Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner, with the hinder end of the spear, smote him under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him. And he fell down there and died in the same place. And it came to pass, as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died, stood still. Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner. And the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah, that lieth before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner, and became one troop, and stood on the top of an hill. Then Abner called to Joab and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then, ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren? And Joab said, As God liveth, unless thou hadst spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother. So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still, and pursued after Israel no more, neither fought they any more. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim. And Joab returned from following Abner. And when he had gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men and Asahel. But the servants of David had smitten
Wow.
Benjamin, and of Abner's men, so that
Yeah.
360 men died. And they took up Asahel, and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem.
Get ready to
Joab and his
exit.
men went all night, and they came to Hebron at the break of day.
Exit left.
Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger,
Yes.
and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. And unto David were sons born in Hebron. And his firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and his second Chileab of Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the third Absalom the son of Maacah the daughter of Talmai king of Geshur, and the fourth Adonijah the son of Haggith, and the fifth Shephatiah the son of Abitub, and the sixth Ithream by Eglah David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine, whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said to Abner, Wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine? Then was Abner very wroth for the words of Ishbosheth, and said, Am I a dog's head, which against Judah to show kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren and to his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman? So do God to Abner, and more also, except as the Lord hath sworn to David, even so I do to him, to translate the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Beersheba. And he could not answer Abner a word again, because he feared him. And Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, Whose is the land? Saying also, Make thy league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee, to bring about all Israel unto thee. And he said, Well, I will make a league with thee. But one thing I require of thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face. And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth Saul's son, saying, Deliver me my wife Michal. which I espoused to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish. And her husband went with her along, weeping behind her, to Bahurim. Then said Abner unto him, Go, return. And he returned. And Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, He sought for David in times past to be king over you. Now then do it, for the Lord hath spoken of David, saying, By the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines, and out of the hand of all their enemies. And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin. And Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron all that seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel unto my lord the king, that they may make a league with thee, that thou mayest reign over all that thine heart desireth. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. And behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing the troop, and brought in a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace. When Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he had sent him away, and he is gone in peace. Then Joab came to the king and said, What hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away, and he is quite gone? Thou knowest Abner the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah.
Oh, what's
David
going
knew
on?
it not. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him there under the 5th rib, that he died, for the blood of Asahel his brother. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever from the blood of Abner the son of Ner. Let it rest on the head of Joab, and on all his father's house, and let there not fail from the house of Joab one that hath an issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on the staff, or that falleth on the sword, or that lacketh bread. So Joab and Abishai his brother slew Abner, because he had slain their brother Asahel at Gibeon in the battle. And David said to Joab, and to all the people that were with him, Rend your clothes, and gird you with sackcloth, and mourn before Abner. And King David himself followed the bier. And they buried Abner in Hebron. And the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner. And all the people wept. And the king lamented over Abner, and said, Died Abner as a fool dieth? Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters. As a man falleth before wicked men, so fellest thou. And all the people wept again over him. And when all the people came to cause David to eat meat while it was yet day, David sware, saying, So do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else.
Oh, that
till the
is
sun be down."
skill.
And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them. As
Look at
whatsoever
that.
pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner, the son of Ner. And the king said unto his servants, Know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel? And
Sorry,
I,
Mr. Officer.
though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zeruiah, be too hard for me. The Lord shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness.
I just completely closed it off.
And when Saul's son heard that Abner
Okay,
was dead,
I'm gonna have to do
his
some
hands were
crazy
feeble,
stuff here.
and all the Israelites were troubled. And Saul's son had 2 men that were captains of bands. The name of the one was Baanah, and the name of the other Rechab, the sons of Rimmon, a Beerothite, of the children of Benjamin. For Beeroth also was reckoned to Benjamin, and the Beerothites fled to Gittaim and were sojourners there until this day. And Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son who was lame of his feet. He was 5 years old when the tidings came of Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass, as she made haste to flee, that he fell and became lame, and his name was Mephibosheth. And the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, Rechab and Baanah, went and came about the heat of the day to the house of Ishbosheth, who lay on a bed at noon. And they came thither into the midst of the house as though they would have fetched wheat. And they smote him unto the 5th rib. And Rechab and Baanah his brother escaped. For when they came into the house, he lay on his bed in his bedchamber, and they smote him and slew him and beheaded him, and took his head, and gat them away through the plain all night. And they brought the head of Ishbosheth unto David to Hebron,
You want
and
to take
said to
this
the king,
key sword?
Behold, the
Well,
head of
skip
Ishbosheth,
that
the son of Saul,
roadblock.
thine enemy, which sought thy life.
They're
And
barrier.
the Lord hath avenged my lord the king this day of Saul and
That
of
is
his
a
seed.
barrier, isn't it?
And David answered Rechab and
That's
Baanah his
smart.
brother, the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, and said
Okay.
unto them, As the Lord liveth,
see what
who
we
hath
can do.
redeemed my soul
I know
out
this is
of all
dangerous, but
adversity.
I don't care.
When one told me, saying, Behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings,
Oh, I
I
am
called
a
him and slew him,
genius.
Ziklag, who thought that I would have given him a reward for his tidings. How much more, when wicked men have slain a righteous person in his own house upon his bed? Shall I not therefore now require his blood at your hand and take you away from the earth? And David commanded his young men, and they slew them, and cut off their hands and their feet, and hanged them up
Keep
over the
left.
pool in
Then
Hebron.
exit left.
But they took the head of Ishbosheth and buried it in the sepulchre
Exit
of
left.
Abner in Hebron. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou wast he that led us out and brought us in Israel. And the Lord said to thee, Thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be a captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron. And King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. In Hebron he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, which spake unto David, saying, Except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come in hither. Thinking David cannot come in hither. Nevertheless David took the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David. And David said on that day, Whosoever getteth up to the gutter, and smiteth the Jebusites, and the lame, and the blind, that I hated of David's soul, he shall be chief and captain. Wherefore they said, The blind and the lame shall not come into the house. So David dwelt in the fort, and called it the city of David. And David built round about from Millo and inward. And David went on and grew great, and the Lord God of hosts was with him. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons, and they built David an house.
And then continue
And
straight
David
on.
perceived that the Lord had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people Israel's sake. And David took him more concubines and wives out of Jerusalem after he was come from Hebron, and there were yet sons and daughters born to David. And these were the names of those that were born unto him in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shobab, and Nathan, and Solomon, Ibhar also, and Elishua, and Nepheg, and Japhiah, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Eliphalet. But when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines came up to seek David. And David heard of it and went down to the hole.
Go straight on.
The Philistines also came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up to the Philistines? Wilt thou deliver them into mine hand? And the Lord said unto David, Go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines
And then
into thine
continue
hand.
straight on.
And David came to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there, and said,
Go
The
straight on.
Lord hath broken forth upon mine enemies before me as the breach of waters. Therefore he called the name of that place Baal Perazim. And there they left their images, and David and his men burned them. And the Philistines came up yet again, and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And when David inquired of the Lord, he said, Thou shalt not go up, but fetch a compass behind them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And let it be, when thou hearest the sound of a going in the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt bestir thyself. For then shall the Lord go out before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. And David did so as the Lord had commanded him, and smote the Philistines from Geba until thou come to Gaza. Again David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baali of Judah to bring up from thence the ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Lord of hosts that dwelleth between the cherubims. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart, and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah, and Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the ark of God. And Ahio went before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps, and on psalteries, and on timbrels, and on cornets, and on cymbals. And when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God, and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah. And God smote him there for his error. There he died by the ark of God. And David was displeased, because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah. And he called the name of that place Perez Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day, and said, How shall the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David. David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. And it was told King David, saying, The Lord hath blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that pertaineth unto him because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so, that when they that bare the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. And David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in his place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And as soon as David had made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. And he dealt among all the people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well to the women as men, to every one a cake of bread, and a good piece of flesh,
Turn
and a
right,
flagon of
and then
wine.
continue straight on.
So all the people departed, every one to his house.
Go straight on.
Then David
turn right.
returned to bless his household. And
Read
Michal,
duty.
the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovereth himself." And David said unto Michal, "It was before the Lord, which chose me before thy father, and before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore will I play before the Lord, and I will be yet more vile than thus, and will be base in mine own sight. And of the maidservants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be had in honor." Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child unto the day of her death. And it came to pass, when the king sat in his house, and the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, "See now,
Turn left.
I dwell in an house of cedar, but the ark of God dwelleth within curtains." And Nathan said to the king, "Go, do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee." And it came to pass that night, that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, "Go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, Shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in? Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, Why build ye not me an house of cedar? Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as before time, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Also, the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee an house. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels,
Exit right.
and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Then went King David in, and sat before the Lord, and said, Who am I, O Lord God? And what is my house that thou hast brought me hitherto? And this was yet a small thing in thy sight, O Lord God. But thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house for a great while to come. And is this the manner of man, O Lord God? And what can David say more unto thee? For thou, Lord God, knowest thy servant. For thy word's sake, and according to thine own heart, hast thou done all these great things, to make thy servant know them. Wherefore, thou art great, O Lord God, for there is none like thee, neither is there any God beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom God went to redeem for a people to himself and to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemedst to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever, and thou, Lord, art become their God. And now, O Lord God, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said. And let thy name be magnified forever, saying, The Lord of hosts is the God over Israel, and let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. For thou, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, hast revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee an house. Therefore hath thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. And now, O Lord God, thou art that God, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O Lord God, hast spoken it. And with thy blessing let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Bethegaba out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured he to put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants, and brought gifts. David smote also Hadadezer the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 700 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. And David houghed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David, and brought gifts. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Betah and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and smitten him. For Hadadezer had wars with Toi. And Joram brought with him vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and vessels of brass, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord, with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria, and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men.
Go straight on.
And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants. The Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David reigned over all Israel. And David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud was recorder. And Zadok the son of Ahitub and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests. And Sariah was the scribe. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over both the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And David's sons were chief rulers. And David said, Is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. called him unto David, the king said unto him, Art thou Ziba? And he said, Thy servant is he. And the king said, Is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet. And the king said unto him, Where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he is in the house of Machir the son of Amiel in Lodabar. Then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Machir the son of Amiel from Lodabar. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, Behold thy servant. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. And he bowed himself and said, What is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertained to Saul, and to all his house. Thou therefore, and thy sons and thy servants, shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread alway at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then said Ziba unto the king, According to all that my lord the king hath commanded his servant, so shall thy servant do. As for Mephibosheth, said the king, he shall eat at my table, as one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah. All that dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants unto Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet. And it came to pass after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hanun the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, Thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee? Hath not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it? Wherefore Hanun took David's servants, and shaved off the one half of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. When they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. And when the children of Ammon saw that they stank before David, the children of Ammon sent and hired the Syrians of Beth-rehob, and the Syrians of Zobar, 20,000 footmen, and of King Maacah 1,000 men, and of Ishtob 12,000 men. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entering in of the gate. And the Syrians of Zobar and of Rehob and Ishtob and Maacah were by themselves in the field. When Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him before and behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. And he said, If the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, then I will come and help thee. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people, and for the cities of our God. And the Lord do that which seemeth him good. And Joab drew nigh, and the people that were with him, unto the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before him. And when the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, then fled they also before Abishai, and entered into the city. So Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. When the Syrians saw that they were smitten before Israel, they gathered themselves together. And Hadarezer sent and brought out the Syrians that were beyond the river, and they came to Helam. And Shobak, the captain of the host of Hadarezer, went before them. And when it was told David, he gathered all Israel together, and passed over Jordan, and came to Helam. And the Syrians set themselves in array against David, and fought with him. And the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew the men of 700 chariots of the Syrians, and 40,000 horsemen, and smote
There's me
Shobak, the
exit.
captain of their host, who died there.
Oh, that's dodgy.
And when all the kings that were servants to Hadarezer saw that they were smitten before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians feared to help the children of Ammon anymore.
Right. And then exit right.
Chapter 11. And it came to pass,
Exit right.
after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house, and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark, Israel, and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. And David said to Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart.
Please no way.
So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him,
Yes.
he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab.
And then exit right.
And there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also.
Exit right.
Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger, saying, When thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, Wherefore
straight
approached
on.
ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall, who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubbesheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebes? Why went he nigh the wall? Then say thou, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So the messenger went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, Surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead. And thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Then David said unto the messenger, Thus shalt thou say unto Joab, Let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the morning David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David. And he came unto him and said unto him, There were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveller unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, As the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb 4-fold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, Thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son. For thou didst it secretly. But I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed unto his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How would he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself, and changed his apparel, and came into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said,
it
Who
will
can
do,
tell
right?
whether God will be gracious to me, that the
Enough.
child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him,
It'll
but
do.
he shall not return to me.
It has to do.
And David comforted Bathsheba his wife,
Money, money,
and
money.
went in unto her, and
Money,
laid with
XP
her.
money.
And she bare a son, and he called his name Solomon. And the Lord loved him. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he
double
called his name
bubble.
Jedediah, because of the Lord. And Joab fought against Rabbah
get
of the
two.
children of Ammon, and took the
Two
royal
I
city.
can pick.
And Joab sent messengers to David and said, I have
Plus
fought
one.
against Rabbah, and have taken the city of
Explosive.
waters.
No.
Now therefore, gather the rest of the people together, and encamp
Flammable.
against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and be called after my name. And David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, and fought against it, and took it. And he took their king's crown from off his head, the weight whereof was a talent of gold, with the precious stones, and it was set
Explosives.
on David's head. And he brought forth the
Nice.
spoil of the city in great abundance. And he brought forth the people that were therein, and put them under saws, and under harrows of
Gasoline,
iron,
diesel,
and under axes
kerosene.
of iron, and made them pass through the brick kiln. And thus did he unto all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned unto Jerusalem.
Fuel economy.
And it came to pass after this, that Absalom the
I
son
can
of
deliver
David
fuel.
had a fair sister, whose
I like
name was
this build.
Tamar. And Amnon the son of David loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell
a
sick
good build.
for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin.
Um,
And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her.
banked.
But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man. And he said unto him, Why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him,
Paying that off
I
for a
love
very
Tamar,
long time,
my
but who
brother
cares, right?
Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said
Skills,
unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick.
males.
And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I
Use
pray thee,
trucks for
let my
sale.
sister Tamar come, and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it, and eat it at her hand. So Amnon lay down, and made himself sick. And when the king was come to see him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come, and make me a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her hand. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Amnon's house, and dress him meat. So Tamar went to her
Truck
brother
dealers.
Amnon's house, and he was laid down,
Mod
and she
dealer.
took flour and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sight, and did bake the cakes. And she took a pan, and poured them
Ooh,
out
that's
before
pretty.
him, but he refused to eat.
No, that's not
And
bad.
Amnon said, Have out all men from me. And
That
they went out
is
every man from him.
the best
Amnon
one, I
said unto
guess.
Tamar,
Oh no, we took a look at the mod
Bring
dealer,
the meat
didn't we?
into the chamber, that I may
Um,
eat of thine hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them into the chamber to Amnon her brother. And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her, and said unto her, Come, lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me,
China.
for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly. And I, whither shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, Speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Howbeit he would not hearken unto
Oh,
her
level
voice,
17.
but being stronger than she, forced her, and lay with her.
And
Then
19.
Amnon hated her exceedingly,
Nice.
so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone. And she said unto him, There is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst unto me. But he would not hearken unto her. Then he called
That
his servant
is
that ministered
interesting.
unto him, and said, Put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. And she had a garment of divers colours upon her, for with such
Oh.
robes were the king's
We need to get
daughters
to
that were
level
virgins
19.
apparelled. Then his
Make
servant
that
brought her
epic.
out, and bolted the door
But
after her.
okay.
And Tamar put ashes on her
Yeah.
head, and rent her garments of divers colours that was on her, and laid her hand on her head, and went on crying. And Absalom her brother said unto her, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? But hold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this
That
thing.
is that, isn't it?
So Tamar
Right.
remained desolate in her
Let's
brother
find
Absalom's house. And when King
somebody
David heard of all
happy.
these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon neither good
Who
nor
is
bad.
there that's looking
For
happy?
Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass, after 2 full years, that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal-hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons.
More load, more
And Absalom
fun.
came to the king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee. And he pressed him.
Yeah, why
Howbeit
not?
he would not go, but blessed
Why
him.
not indeed?
Then said Absalom, If not, I pray thee, let my
Mr.
brother Amnon go with
59,
us.
you
And the king
look
said unto him,
cool.
Why should he go with thee? But Absalom pressed him that he let Amnon
We'll
and
send
all
it
the king's sons
you,
go
the
with him.
dingaling.
Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now when Amnon's
How long
heart
you
is
been at
merry
it
with
for?
wine,
An hour.
and when I say unto you, Smite Amnon, then kill
Okay.
him. Fear not.
So that is
Hath
the
not I
bombshell.
commanded you? Be courageous,
And God bless.
and be valiant.
Be good.
And the servants of
And a whole
Absalom
load
did
of blah,
unto
blah,
Amnon
blah.
as Absalom had commanded. Then all
See
the
you later,
king's
Rob.
sons arose,
Thanks
and
for
every
hanging
man
around,
getting
man.
up
I hope
upon
you
his
enjoy this
mule,
guy.
and fled.
He looks cool.
And it
He's
came
got
to
gear.
pass, while they were in the way, that tidings came to David,
Cease.
saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons,